Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why they say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
What is up, everybody? How are y'all doing tonight? We're in for a ride. I have spent most of my awake time in the last 24 hours, which isn't much, actually, because I've been doing a lot of sleeping on and off. Watching this family, and the deeper I go, the more I'm like, ooh, sus. Anyway, you've been around here long enough, you should know what the last song means. Go grab your snacks, go grab your drinks. You're probably going to need something to smoke too, because this is going to be a ride. So, yeah, let's do it.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad,
Yeah.
baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad, chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back, I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me, ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact, give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do no cap. Only God caught up in this life, I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap, only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm back, baby, I'm back. I got cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, I'm living up on the attack. Baby, I'm back, I just wanna get caught up in this life, I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap, only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm back, baby, I'm back. I got cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, I'm living up on the attack. Baby, I'm back, I just wanna get caught up in this life, I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap, only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm back, baby, I'm back.
What is up, everybody? Whew, I just ate me some pizza and I'm ready to go to bed. I'm tired. And I just woke up a few hours ago. It was good pizza though. It was Philly cheesesteak pizza. Really, really good. Yes, full belly sleepy. Yep. But, yeah. Oh, God. I just want to go to bed. I just want to go to bed right now. You know what? Stream over. I'm going to bed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. What's up, Pro Grip? All right. Now, I have a question for my chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you know who the Thorps are. And believe me, if you don't know, I can understand why you don't know. Put a 1 in the chat if you do know who the Thorps are. Put a 2 in the chat if you do not know who the Thorps are. Okay, all right. Yep, put a 2 in the chat if you don't know who they are. All right. Okay, it makes total sense. It is a family. You know what? The only thing I can say is it's a family. All right. Okay, so there is the 3 main people are the mother, the father, and the daughter. The 2 main people is the father and the daughter. And then there's also underage kids as well. All right. The father, if you don't know who they are, it kind of makes sense in the sense of the father only has 1.01K. All right. He had actually under 1K before his Destiny, before they were on Destiny, talking to him. Grace, she was at over 1K, and now she's at like almost 2.5. All right. There's a lot of things I want to say about them. And it's one of those situations that I don't want to say them until you see them and until you hear them talk. All right. Let me go grab that video because I even made a playlist. I have a playlist that I'm gathering on these people. It's so bad. It's so bad. Holy crap, it's so bad. All right, hold on. I gotta pull this video up.
Narrative.
Okay. So, and yes, I have watched this whole entire video. I've watched it maybe like 3 or 4 times. Okay, I think this was like on the 4th time. Destiny. Okay, so the daughter here, she went and argued why. Oh, God. Why Steven Crowder was actually the abused one in that video and not the wife. She had a debate about that. I can't remember who she was talking to, but she had a debate about it. And yeah, she is out here saying in the year of our Lord 2023 that Steven Crowder was the abused one in that video and not the wife. Okay. All right. So let's just start with that. So of course that gets Destiny's ears perking, and apparently later on after this, him, Not So Erudite, and then these two went on another show and had a debate, and it was about the whole Steven Crowder wife, stuff like that. So, yeah, they are Boyd for sure. Ruthless Rosie. I don't think you're wrong at all for saying that. So, so what we're going to do, there's also a video about them that Destiny kind of goes over, but I have that video. I think it's better. I want y'all to experience it the way I experienced it, right? I want y'all to actually watch when he talks to the father and daughter first, okay? And they did this whole thing like a documentary, like Act 2, Act 3. It's hilarious. But I want y'all to hear the father and daughter talk to Destiny. And if you can, make a tick of how many red flags you see. But your red flags may not exactly be what you think they are. That's the only way I can describe it. All right? So, put a 1 in the chat if you're ready. If you're ready to get this started. I am enthralled with these people. Fuck a fish tank right now, okay? I'm not worried about a damn fish tank right now. I am enthralled with these people. All right. Get your beverages ready. That's all I'm saying. Let's go.
Wow. What's up? We got all sorts of activity going on in here. Well, how you guys doing? It's pretty late for you guys over up in Rhode Island, almost 1 a.m.
Yes. We're very excited about our debate tomorrow with you, Stephen.
Okay, so it was the next day. Excuse me. My bad. I watched that debate today, and if you follow me on Twitter, I put the debate on Twitter and said, this makes me want to say the R word. Literally. Because I watched the longer version. Because the shorter version is actually on Destiny's channel, and then I think it was last night on Destiny was the longer version of it, and it literally made me want to say the R word. Not gonna lie. It was that brain dead. And not on Destiny and Eurodite side. But let's keep going.
Definitely gonna be an interesting one.
It's gonna be fun.
Thanks for taking that. I thought you were going to take it with Grace because you were one of the outliers, but then you shifted sides to cover your ass, as it were.
Well, I didn't shift sides. I just my initial position was one of hesitancy to be fully judgmental, but I still think it was pretty obvious that Crowder was abusive. And
well, I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, I never know who's kidding because I literally just met you, so.
We are taking the extreme. We're taking the extreme position.
Yeah, I noticed.
And yours is not really the opposite. Yours is not the opposite extreme, really. You're about as far over to our side as any mainstream commentator that I've seen, except the red pill guys, Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, that's possibly true. All right. So, what do you guys think about your family dynamic? I'm curious.
Okay, here we go. Oh God, it's about to start.
Well, I'll let you take the floor. I've already talked about it on here.
Well, just so you know, the video that you were watching there was made by a hyper troll who is the leader of a pack of people on the internet who take, they call them lol cows. They take vulnerable people, including a lot of times people who are transitioning and going through the hormones, and try to get them to harm themselves. And one thing, I don't know that one of the rumors about them is that they got a mentally retarded guy to eat his own feces, and he ended up in the hospital and maybe dead. So that's not exactly like an objective documentary. Nonetheless, the clips are real. Most of them are from Discords that I didn't realize were being secretly taped.
Okay. The thing with the dad, for me, is his cadence is off. The way he talks is his cadence is off. I have seen this before. We've all seen this before. That's all I'm going to say right now. To me, his cadence is off. With her, she's always very poised in front of the camera. And it's just the way that he talks and the way she is during this, something's off for me. So
that's not mostly YouTube video. But whatever.
It's not a gun holster, it's a holster for his iPhone. He literally has his iPhone in it.
It is what it is.
What parts of the video do you think are unfair representations? I'm curious.
Well, all the stuff that's his edit. Like, for example, I can give you one that you would not, you would understand. He says at one point, they hail from Rhode Island, the infernal hell known as Rhode Island, the incest capital of the world. Well, I don't know what he's talking about. Rhode Island is not known as the... I don't know that we have any higher or lower incest rates than anywhere else. Nor is it an infernal hell. It's a beautiful, beautiful state. But so all of his edits are filled with lies, and I have threatened a lawsuit on him, but I just hope he edits it. It's fine if he uses the clips, even though I didn't realize I was being recorded. It's fine. But all of the he put out a video claiming that I sexted Grace when she was 15 years old, when in fact whatever it was that she may have sent me a jokingly what do you call those emojis? An eggplant emoji when she was 18. So that's not sexting, and it isn't.
Okay, so in this conversation alone, that is his first mention of anything like that with his daughter. His first mention. Okay.
The rage. But whatever.
There was a whole thing. My brother.
In a certain sense, it's more interesting.
Anyways.
So the way this family dynamic happened is, and this actually is related to the Crowder thing, but don't assume just because there's something similar that it's projection, right? That's not fair. It can be that there's just an actual similarity. So we had this problem from the beginning. I think you were raised Catholic, is that right?
Yeah, don't worry about me though. But go ahead.
Okay, but so you understand the concept like that. So I was a Catholic school teacher, so you understand the concept. I don't think we were married in retrospect because you know what
I don't know what that means, Gaming Witch, but Gaming Witch for 5, is this going to be a certified Whitaker moment? I don't know what that means, Gaming Witch. I'm sorry. But thank you for the 5.
Annulment is, you've heard of annulment, so...
Yeah, it's the way in the Catholic marriage you formally dissolve a marriage in the eyes of God. It's not just through divorce.
No, you don't formally dissolve a marriage.
Or you say it never technically was a real marriage.
Happened.
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't roll your eyes. It's not the same thing. But anyways...
You see how his cadence is? Do you see how he's talking? We have seen this before. We have seen somebody talk like this before.
You could roll your eyes. Yeah, so...
Nuclear says, bro, Destiny did this the right way. Instead of just asking the pointless questions they have been asked before, he let them talk the questions. Then questions them on their story. Yeah.
I didn't realize I had been abused. A similar family dynamic happened where I was abused by my mother. My father tolerated it. So when I got into a relationship and we had kids, and I was Catholic, right? So we had lots of kids. I didn't realize this dynamic was happening until Grace, who was the oldest, I could start to see the abuse from her mother to her. And then I recognized, oh, there's something really, really off here. So we spent about we had a lot of wealth. So
can I just, so I can understand who everybody is,
yeah.
So this is ex-wife or annulled wife? Is Grace's mom, is it one mom for all 5 children?
I call her my ex.
Sure.
Because she's not my.
I don't know. Gaming Witch, I don't know who the Whitakers are. I have no clue who the Whitakers are. So I don't know what you're relating them to.
My ex-wife, because we haven't gotten a divorce.
Gotcha.
And
your ex.
So I don't know what you call someone you've been annulled from, but I haven't been annulled from her either.
Okay, sure.
I don't understand how you can get an annulment when you've already had children by her. I don't get that. How can you have it annulled if you've already had multiple children with her?
Your ex. That's Grace's mom and everybody else's
her
mom.
name is Courtney. Her name is Courtney.
Gotcha. Okay.
She has her own
6 kids
channel.
also.
And
6
I have
kids.
6 beautiful kids. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And Grace is the oldest.
Okay.
And the youngest is 11. 2 adults, 4 minors.
Well, I'm
So
sorry.
anyways,
Wait, real
we
quick.
tried
What
to
were
work
they?
this-
What were the ages
Well,
again? Yeah, hit me up with that. Again.
11, 13, 15, 17, 18, and 20.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so 2 of them are adults. So out of all the 8 people, 4 of them are adults.
So not little kids.
Tomato, stop fighting with everybody in the chat.
So anyways, I saw this abuse going on. I said, this has got to stop. It went on for about 4 years of endless conversations. Grace got pulled into it as the oldest daughter because it was the abuse of her that I was concerned with. So that became part of it. And then it was like 6 hours a day. I swear to you, 6 hours a day of just, what is the problem here? Right?
What kind
Grace?
of,
sometimes 8 or 9 hours a day.
Yep.
We were self-employed, so we had a little bit of flexibility, but it was just brutal.
Mm-hmm. What kind of abuse? What kind of abuse are we talking here?
So nothing physical, but I think that what
Actually, that video that person made, whoever made it, actually showed some physical abuse. Just saying.
happened is, I think what happens with some people is they cannot relate to others except in terms of power. And so what I noticed, and this I would say to the young men out there is a big one. When the kids were young, she was great, happy, because kids can't reject you. So that doesn't necessarily mean you have someone who can be a mother on your hands. But when the kids got to an age where they could reject her, she rejected them first. And it was either neglect or sort of hostility and power. And I think that comes from immaturity. I'm not saying morally that's a problem, but it is a problem if someone doesn't have the tools to do something that they're trying to do. And they only understand relationships in terms of power. And that,
The Gaming Witch for 10. The Whitakers are the most inbred family in the world, and that's not an exaggeration. Then no, I wouldn't say these are the Whitakers. Gaming Witch, I wouldn't say these are the Whitakers then. But thank you for the 10. I appreciate it. Oh, they're the ones, aren't they from... Oh, God. Aren't they from... I want to say they're from... Aren't they from West Virginia? Aren't the Whitakers from West Virginia? I think... Yeah! Okay, I know who you're talking about now. Yes, Appalachia. Yep. I get it now. Yep. All right, I know who you're talking about now. See, they sounded familiar, but I'm like, I don't know who Gaming Witch is talking about. Now I know. Okay, there we go. But no, I don't think they are. No.
that comes from, I think, from her family's dynamic. And I had that in my family, but I was able to, I think, learn and grow. And maybe that's because the abuse I had suffered was less intense. But
so real quick, when we say
that's my perspective, of course.
So the main type of abuse we're talking here then is just neglect of children, or
neglect, and and sort of I would say emotional abuse.
What kind of emotional abuse?
Nothing where you end up in a hospital.
Yeah, what kind of emotional abuse?
I mean,
right, Grace can talk about that.
I can explain it. So it would kind of be like, so once we got to about 8 or 9 years old, and I saw this happen with me and then with my siblings as they got to that age, she would kind of like, she kind of closed off. So she would either be like very, very cold and kind of distant and like about ourselves or relate to us, or she would be super emotionally invested but like really very angry. So she'd say like, you're full of shit or something like that. And it seemed kind of like she wanted to be a parent and like correct us, but it was just like very, very hostile. And it was just this big back and forth between like guilt and leaving us alone, and then engagement, but like super hostility was my experience.
Okay, so obviously they're talking about the mother. The mother supposedly left 6 weeks ago. Okay, and yeah.
experience of it.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? How old were you when you first noticed this type of behavior?
I would say when my family started the restaurant, she kind of threw me. She kind of said like, you need to be the mom to your siblings, and then I try to help her around the kitchen and stuff, and she'd be very, very sort of like, you fucked up making that, like, you know, like, I don't know how to say it. It just was very cold. Like, get these dishes out, get this stuff out, and then I knew she would feel guilty about it. So when we went home, she would just kind of leave me alone, and I would just be in my room, kind of lonely, and I didn't really know what was going on, and it just got worse from there until it really stopped talking once I reached like 14 or so.
Gotcha. So you would say that this type of behavior began when you were around 13, 14?
Oh no, eight or 9.
Okay, this happened.
The restaurant started when I was 8 or 9.
See what happened, even in the restaurant, you see the same
2012,
pattern?
I think.
We had an Ethiopian restaurant, so we hired Ethiopian refugees. So we were like, it was a strange business because the owners were not Ethiopian, but we had like the most black employees you could ever have. And but she wasn't able to relate as a man.
Okay, I gotta go ahead and say it. There's no way I can go through this and not go ahead and say it. He is a bullshitter. This is Lab and Mr. Girl in evolution mode. Period. He is a bullshitter. He will try to sell you a bridge in Brooklyn. He talks like a used car salesman. He talks like he's trying to bullshit you.
Manager, you know, as a manager, you have to delegate tasks. So she actually alienated all the workers.
Yes, Raps Chick, I watched it like 3 or 4 times. Yes, I have. Why do you ask? That's a good question, though. But yes, I've watched it like 3 or 4 times.
They'd be standing around speaking Amharic, the language of Ethiopia. She'd be doing all the work, and then she'd be exhausted. And Grace was stuffed upstairs to be the mother of the kids, which was not how it was supposed to go.
Real quick, when you say upstairs, was this restaurant ran out of your house, or do you mean like the kids would go to the restaurant, or what do you mean when you say upstairs?
We were near, yeah, so we semi-lived there. We were near Brown University in Providence, which is, you know, a kind of place for an Ethiopian restaurant, which is an unusual cuisine, but it's got vegan. So it's a great location, but it had 3 floors. And the 3rd floor was, we used 2 floors for the restaurant. The 3rd floor was like this, you know, it was like not up to snuff. You could look through remember that, Chris? You could look through the
in the bathroom
down to the floor below. But I mean, it was okay. But it was like, the idea was just like, let's just get started. But once this restaurant started running, her mother turned to it was just panic mode 24 hours a day. And there was never like a way to get above it, if you know what I mean. And just say like, okay, let's do what makes sense. Let's delegate. So I understand that.
Yeah, I know, Courtney. I've watched it. We're going to watch it.
She was a very hard worker. And she actually gave herself carpal tunnel syndrome from making, I don't know if you've ever had Ethiopian food. It's that flatbread with holes in it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Delicious food. You can look it up. People say we're fake. You can look up Abyssinia Restaurant in Providence.
Okay, and there's his first mention about people talking about how they're fake. All right, so we've already had one talking about how they're fake, and one already talking about alluding to him and Grace, his daughter. Grace is the daughter. All right, we've already seen that now. Now he's already done that once on each.
Mm-hmm. We were in the New York Times, but like behind the scenes, there was this craziness going on where a 9-year-old girl is acting as the mother for her homeschooled kids who were not being homeschooled, while, like, you know, it was just crazy. And I was out back smoking cigarettes going like, I can't get a hold of this. Because once the ball started rolling, it just became an endless emergency.
You ever met somebody who tries to over-explain something that they're lying about? Have you ever met somebody who tries to over-explain something that they're lying about? I'm just saying.
Urgency.
Mm-hmm. So
it was a weird dynamic there.
Sure. So Grace, you said that she was abusive from when you were about 8 to 9 all the way up until you were 14 is when she stopped the restaurant, and when you guys stopped the restaurant, or?
The restaurant.
And the only reason why I'm not speeding this up, because I want y'all to notice his cadence when he's talking, and I want you to notice her saves of him when he's talking too much, because she saves his ass a couple of times in this conversation. Courtney's like, all that double talk. I watched too much Judge Judy to know.
The restaurant closed when I was 13, I think. Then I stopped, I said I don't want to be homeschooled anymore. Went to 8th grade and started going to high school after that. Once I got into high school, actually once I started going to 8th grade, we basically stopped talking at all. Except if she would ask me to do something, but like there was really no connection at all. And yeah, so
but
then,
her mother had felt bad about.
Blue Sky, watch. I'm introducing you to the Thorps, because we're gonna start covering the Thorps. I am you remember, okay. remember my Krama series? Where I had like 13 districts, but I never finished it because they wore me out. Yeah. We're going to do a series on the Thorp. Just to let y'all know.
About the place she was put in. So she eased off so much that she was living with a Nigerian family for an entire year, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, I had a Nigerian friend, and I would stay at her house like every single day and most weekends. So I kind of like lived apart from the family, essentially.
She saved him there. She saved him. Because he fucked up how he said it. He fucked up how he said it. She saved his ass.
She eased off so much that she was living with a Nigerian family for an entire year, pretty much.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, I had a Nigerian friend, and I would stay at her house like every single day and most weekends. So I kind of like lived apart from the family, essentially, which was okay. It's fun.
What, just curious, how old were you when you felt like you noticed your mom being abusive?
Well, I never really attributed it to her at first. I guess I would say, like, probably it took me until I was 16 or 17 to say, like, actually that was... I mean, I always thought she was harsh, but I just kind of thought, like, that's just her personality. And then I was like, well, actually, it was kind of, like, too harsh. She was expecting too much, and it didn't make any sense. But, you know, I kind of just thought, like, well, I'm just... She would play the guilt game, so she'd be like, you don't want to help this family because you're selfish. And so I never really blamed her, I just blamed myself and internalized it, so it took me a while.
Well, I can tell you exactly when it happened, because I was getting this narrative that you're a brat, that you're unruly, that you're rebellious, and I looked through Grace's phone just to see what was up with her, because I barely knew her at that point. And I had issues of my own. I was depressed half the time and manic half the time. And I saw some interactions she had with her friends, and I was like, this girl is actually a wonderfully nice person. So my narrative that I was getting from her mother...
while she was taking care of the kids, you were outside smoking cigs. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I immediately said, Grace, there's something way off here. And that's when the shit hit the fan.
So now he's talking about how he went in her phone. Yeah, that was kind of funny that he accidentally played that in the middle of him talking. So you were out there smoking cigarettes while she was taking care of the kids. But now he's talking about how he went into her phone.
Yeah, but even when you said that, it took me a while to
so
say,
then my
like,
kind of
what
so
was
my
going on here.
Yeah, so kind of my question is do you feel like your dad was the one that basically brought this to your attention, kind of?
I mean, it was just so distant with her that I'd kind of internalized it all, and I kind of said, like, well, whatever, I guess I'm just a bad girl who wants to be on her own and doesn't care about her family, so I was just like, well, I'm just gonna go with it at this point. And then when he kind of reached out to me and he said, like, you know,
well, Grace,
you're not...
Yes, the answer is yes, I brought it to your attention. You don't have to, it's fine.
Well, I know everybody's gonna say that it's, like,
well, you don't have to do that, because then you make it look like you're dancing to protect me. Yes, I brought it to your attention.
Okay, fine.
I became aware as a parent that this is not what parenting is supposed to be. That's right.
Yeah.
What were you doing? Just curious.
Does she though, Toots? Does she really?
Also, if these questions are too personal, you can always tell me to fuck off. You're not like under arrest or anything, right? What were you doing when the mom was running the restaurant for Ben?
What was I doing? Well,
Yeah.
I was managing the restaurant, paying the bills, trying to keep the, trying to manage people. But it was such a disaster that, I was super enthusiastic. I'd work 16-hour days. It was a great idea. I mean, I don't know if we were the only Ethiopian restaurant between Boston and New York. So it was like a monopoly. Where we are is, it's a big foodie town, Providence. And the brown kids loved it. So
And the brown kids loved it. Oh my God. Ah! Oh God, he sounds. Lord have mercy. Oh my God. Oh. I'm gonna tell y'all how I really feel when we get through this.
like on paper it was great, but running it every
Yeah, Brown University. That because they were around Brown University. Yep.
day, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Yeah, I got burned out for sure. And I'm not really a
Top Tomato. They were around Brown University. When he said the brown kids, he meant Brown University.
restaurant guy. My idea was, it was kind of like your classic idiot white guy who's like, I knew some Ethiopians, and I was like, I knew them, they were refugees, wonderful people, and I was like, look, I'll set up a restaurant for you. I had some money, you know what I mean? So I'll sign all the papers, I'll do all the stuff that requires you to know English, and you guys will run the restaurant. But they didn't want to run the restaurant because they were refugees, and they just wanted a stable life. And an entrepreneurial life, running a restaurant, is not a stable life. So they were happy to get their $12, $14 an hour. So this is what happens a lot with Asians too. They're very, very polite people. So they agreed to do this. But then when it actually started, they bolted. You know, so because they couldn't say.
Yeah, apparently I didn't set it up for mid-rolls. I always say no to mid-rolls. So apparently they're doing mid-rolls now, Blue. Apparently, because I don't do mid-rolls. Because I have the option whether I can check it for mid-rolls or not.
No, I'm not going to do this. And I said, you sure you're going to take this over? And they're like, oh, absolutely, Mr.
Hey, Top Tomato, it doesn't matter. It's from Brown University. When he said that, he meant Brown University. It's not, believe me, that's not something to get hung up on. More said in this conversation than that.
Ben. And so then we took it on. So it wasn't intended to be our family's restaurant, and it wasn't my passion, nor was it Grace's mother's passion. But it was fun. The food was wonderful. It was delicious. But we didn't know really what we were doing.
Gotcha. So despite it being nobody's passion, you decided to, is this the first time you've ran a business of your own? It seems like kind of a jump to go from not having passion to restaurants. Yeah.
I had been in real estate. I had been a religion teacher, a Catholic theology teacher, but I mean, it doesn't really pay well when you got 6 kids. So I had some money. It was a strange situation, but I felt like it was sort of like, you know, so I'm a religious guy. I felt like, what's the chance you meet these Ethiopians? You're in a town where Ethiopian food would be the best. And, you know what I mean? Maybe the Lord is giving me, you know, this impetus to do this because I was sick of teaching. Did you go to a Catholic school yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went to a Catholic grade school and then a Jesuit high school. Yeah.
Oh, Jesuits. Yeah. I went to. I know Father James Martin. Do you know him? The controversial Jesuit. But anyways, I went to a seminary and studied there. But
Oh my God, get away from the subject. I do not care about your sky daddy.
Catholic high schools, Jesuits are a little better, but I think a lot of Catholic high schools, it's just all education is just, it's really hard to maintain any integrity whatsoever. But, So I was burned out on that.
Something that's kind of confusing is, so if there were Ethiopians that were trying to run the restaurant and then you were trying to run the restaurant, the
Ethiopians did not want to run the restaurant.
Or okay, we're trying to help, I imagine, or ostensibly they said they were going to help. And then you're trying to run the restaurant. Yeah. How did all of the responsibility of the restaurant seemingly fall onto Grace's mom? Courtney, yeah.
Yeah, let's say, like, so the idea was she was going to manage. She knew more about food. I don't know, She ended up doing the food part, and I was going to do the managing, the business, the advertising, all that kind of stuff. So, but she couldn't manage the people under her. She couldn't get them to do the work. And
he just does too much. I can't believe a word coming out of his fucking mouth. As a lapsed Catholic, I was shocked that this was their religion. They give me more Mormon vibes, more or less. They give me vibes, and religion has nothing to do with it. Honestly, they give me vibes, and religion has zero to do with it.
Refugees are tough because, unlike a lot of immigrants, like refugees can spend years waiting. And so they learn the fine art of like slowing everything down. And where
I sped it up to 1.25.
we were a lot of where all the kind of ethnic restaurants were, so it was the cheaper area, and you had to be BYOB because the kids were cheap. And so all the restaurants there hired Asians. And before Asians get here, a lot of times they're working like in Indonesia, so it's super hot and super fast, and they're like sort of acclimatized to capitalism, if you know what I mean. But Ethiopians, they're very slow. They had no drug problems, alcohol problems, but they were cutting carrots like they were still in the refugee place, and it was just like all day. So we
there was no other people you could hire to work.
We didn't actually know how to make the food. See, so there were only a couple of dozen Ethiopians in the town. So yeah, it would have been smart for us to learn all the recipes, obviously. But we eventually did learn them all. But it wasn't that was the problem, because we could have just been open a few hours on the weekends.
He over-explains. It's like, shut the fuck up. We get it. And Destiny's just letting you talk. And it is an amazing thing.
Done very well. But it had to do with this like creating of a crisis and then being the victim of the crisis. This is what I would say can happen with women. They want to be a victim and a martyr. And it doesn't make any sense. And it gets very frustrating because it doesn't make sense to run a restaurant like it's an emergency every minute. You know what I mean? You have to step back, think, and delegate. So as a couple, we weren't a good business team.
It seems like there might have been reasons, though. I mean, like, if ultimately, especially if you guys wanted a business, I mean, it feels like there was a bit of a crisis for the business itself, though, no?
Yeah, I mean, we sold like $2 million worth of food, which is pretty good for people who didn't know what they were doing. But we paid out like $2.5 million in expenses, especially to... we were very generous with our employees, and we just didn't have whatever. So it went belly up. And in America, you can try something and fail, and you just got to pick up and move on. It was a great experience.
Who were like the primary investors?
She's sitting there with an innocent look on her face. She's sitting there the whole time looking as innocent as she can. She really is.
For the restaurant, get everything off the ground.
Oh, it was me. Well, it was the two of us.
And
so we had a few $100,000, but that goes in no time.
Mm-hmm. How did you, once the business ceased to exist, were there a lot of like liabilities left to pay off afterwards that you guys had to like worry about?
Yeah, we had to walk away from a lot of stuff. I mean, technically, I still have people calling me, but you can't squeeze blood from a rock, and it was an LLC, so it's like, I was really down because it was like my baby, and I thought we were going to buy the building and everything. It gets a lot easier if you buy the building, but there was just this problem within the family that I think made all of those other things impossible, because...
Malarkin says, to be honest, she gives me the creeps. I feel like I would wake up with her standing over my bed with a knife. Toots McGee. The more he talks, I'm actually becoming confused. Funny how that works, right? Funny how that works. That tends to happen with people who talk like him. And then, once you get confused, it's easier to fall for bullshit.
It just wasn't. I mean, it was before any of this stuff. There was a problem. There was a basic problem, a sort of inability to work as a team.
Well, I would just say I remember Mom being super, just kind of resentful and angry about the whole restaurant thing. I just remember that, and I kind of was like, oh, that makes sense because she has to work so hard. But I didn't realize.
She was always the martyr, and I was always the bad guy. That's how it was.
That was the dynamic. So
I'm the lazy, crazy guy, and she's the martyr who's doing her best, and everyone should sympathize with. It can be very wearisome.
Why do you think she felt that way?
I think that she lacked maturity, you know, and so I just think some people aren't able to do what's necessary in marriage. Like I'm a big guy, right? I'm 6'8". I got a big personality, as you've seen. I'm a lot of husband to handle. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that to like be a Mac Daddy, but like it's hard to be married to a guy like me. And you know, you can either be up for it and have a great time, or you can kind of be intimidated by it and then act like. I think a lot of marriages there becomes this problem. I was, to be honest, sort of.
There he goes over explaining again.
And we've talked about this on stream, so I'm not sharing anything. I was sort of manipulated into marriage. Rather, I wanted to be. I was interested in the priesthood. You can imagine I went to a Jesuit seminary. I was looking in that direction. I taught at a boys' school, so I wasn't looking for.
Thank you, Amber Chick. I could never. He talks way too goddamn much. Period. It's like he talks more than me. Now, you know it's bad if he talks more than me. I'm a talker. He over-explains everything. I in no way trust people who over-explain things. I'm telling you, we have all seen this before. And then when it hits you, it's going to hit you.
Female companionship, that's the last place you're going to find it. But she happened to be working there, and this is, I think of myself as a centrist, because a lot of this stuff that's on the right, like conservative, is like this white knight type of stuff, so the woman is always a victim. And so, you know, she became pregnant, but because I was manipulated into that, let's just say, like it wasn't what I wanted to do. And then you have to be the white knight, right? We're teaching at a Catholic school. And, you know, so then it becomes just this endless sort of making up for the terrible thing I did to you by you getting pregnant, and it just never ends. And I think it can be something, I think it can be unhealthy.
When you say, just curious, when you say you were manipulated to get married, what do you mean by that?
Okay, now we're getting into the good stuff.
Well, like, so I would say I don't want to get into too much of the details because, you know, I've got kids and, you know, they may see this, but let's just say my approach was, I remember the first conversations I had is like, I don't believe in premarital sex at all. You know, and this wasn't even like we weren't dating. I just said I don't believe in premarital sex at all. She didn't share that philosophy. And so I'm not saying I was a victim, but, you know, I was like, no birth control, no like being like careful about things. Just don't do it. So, and I think the male drive is much stronger than the female drive. So I do think that women, if you're going to do that, that women should be more careful. They shouldn't be pulling you into risky situations. But she did. And, you know, so she became pregnant. I admit.
Oh, God. Oh, his over-explanation. Like, honestly, this, if it wasn't for his over-explanation on everything, this conversation would be cut in half.
I'm not going to say that I was a victim of that situation, but...
you feel like she kind of like baby trapped you, basically? Like,
yeah, I think there is such a thing. Red pillars talk about that, right? Yeah, it's kind of like...
You should know. You talk to a lot of red pillars. You go on panels of red pillars. Is he being serious, Amber Chick? That's a really good question, actually. Is he? That's a really good question.
I didn't see it. I wasn't thinking that. But there's a way in which a woman can, without being sexually aggressive, create a situation in which it's very difficult for a man to pull away and then blame him for it. I'm not a red pillar. I'm a blue pillar, I think. But yeah, and then when you get pregnant and you're teaching at a Catholic school and the religion teacher got the English teacher pregnant and she isn't careful about it and breaks down in the middle of school and the principal calls her in, then, you know.
And this was before you guys ever got married, right? For her first
This was Grace. She was walking around this school building, trolling the school.
Or no, I'm saying when she got pregnant, that was before you guys were married, right?
Yeah, I'm saying that pregnancy was Grace.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
So I'm glad we didn't, you know, it's Catholic school. Basically, they want you to have an abortion, I think, in a situation like that, because it's embarrassing for the school.
True, Amber Chick. He didn't want her on birth control and shit, but it was her fault she got pregnant. Oh, fuck off with this bullshit, sir. He cannot be serious.
And everyone does. Like, everyone's having premarital sex and there's no children. So, yeah.
I ended up trolling that very school into supposedly calling the FBI on me years later, so.
Yeah, we have a whole other thing that we're going to be doing.
Did you say...
So she trolled the school into calling the FBI on her. Huh.
Real quick, so when you guys were at the school, I didn't catch this before, you were both teachers?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was also a thing. She didn't really like working. So like, since we're trad people, she gets to be the homemaker, and you know, it was a pretty easy life for her. I was working as a teacher and building like a real estate empire at the same time, and I think she liked that, you know, but she didn't do much of anything except take care of the kids.
Gotcha.
Destiny, why don't you ask the questions you really want to ask? Come on, let's go there.
Oh, you hear that? You hear that? Now, the big thing that everybody talks about is how the father and the daughter are incestuous. This is reference number 2 to that.
Gotcha.
Destiny, why don't you ask the questions you really want to ask? Come on, let's go there.
She
You wouldn't
brings it
believe the
up.
questions people.
That's reference number 2. I love the Destiny is just letting this guy dig his own grave. Damn, he may as well have handed him the shovel. Yep. So this is reference number 2 to that question.
Well, have asked me.
Well, what questions do you think I? What questions do you think I?
Vanilla.
Well, what questions do you think I really want to ask?
Listen, you hear her? So vanilla.
I
I don't know, you tell me.
That's reference number 3.
Well, you sound like these aren't the ones I want to, so I'm curious. What are the questions that you think I
No,
most
we
interested in
came
asking?
up through we came up through the hard streets of YouTube, getting hammered, because if you have a father and his daughter, even just when we started off, I was doing in the debate sphere, you know, like the Crucible and stuff like that. People are really not used to seeing a father who has a nice relationship with his daughter, and so immediately, because of pornography and envy and things like this, they immediately go, "Oh, it's something funny going on between those
Reference
two."
number 4.
And you know, they weren't wrong in the sense that we have an unusual relationship, having gone through this trauma together. But the things people say are just unbelievable.
That was reference number 4.
You know, YouTube. People think YouTube death threats. If I push back on it, I was threatened. My life was threatened specifically by someone who's going to come, and you know.
Him not asking the obvious is a great way of how unprepared people can be. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Sayla says, we brought it up in my community. Yep.
We got to go to the police. People don't think the internet is part of society, and I really do think that's not true. And like this guy who did this Shama who did this thing, like those are acts of libel. I have a right to my reputation, and I will pursue, you know, legal remedies. I don't like to strike on YouTube because I feel like, you know, that keeps the creativity from happening. But if people are going to lie about things about your family, I think you do have a right to say, like, you can't do that, or you will face consequences.
Sure. When you originally, I guess, approached Grace and tried to communicate that there was some abusive situation going on between her and mom, why did you feel the need to go to Grace with that instead of going to her mom?
Oh, I immediately went to both of them. But I just saw the thing on Grace's phone, and I just went to her and I told her, like.
What'd you see on Grace's phone?
Well, I told you that I saw an interaction between her and a friend of hers, and I saw that the friend was like basically very rough with her, and she was so kind, and I was like, you know, it just like the narrative I had been hearing from her mother was this negative, because I was working, was just this ultra negative narrative, and I was like, well, this doesn't sound like the person that's being described.
Toots McGee provide. Funnily enough, when I think trauma bonding, healthy father-daughter relationship doesn't come to mind. Yes, thank you for the 5, Toots.
To me. So I was like, I'm sorry, you know, I think I had you wrong here. I didn't know really what it was, but it was.
Wait, so you saw a negative? I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So you saw Grace say something negative about her mother to her friend on her phone?
No. In other words, the narrative I was getting, I didn't have a very close relationship with Grace at the time, which is normal for a girl who's 11, 12, 13. Usually the dad-daughter relationship is a little distant because she's going through, you know, puberty, it's awkward, right? So I think that's actually normal. But when she was 15, 16, the narrative became that Grace is a brat, she doesn't want to help out. This is what I was hearing from her mother, who was interacting with her mostly, and I was working. And so I looked in her phone because I was concerned, like, what are you up to? I don't even know you. And I shouldn't have done that. But what I saw was an interaction with a friend of hers in which she wasn't a brat at all. She was just like a wonderfully mature young woman. And I was like, oh, something is wrong here. You know? So
what was,
I did go
so
to
you
Grace
said, yeah, when you went through the phone, it was when she was, 15, 16?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
How did it take 5 years? Because earlier when I asked Grace and you guys said that this abuse probably started when she was 8 or 9, and it happened until she was about 14 and quit the restaurant. But you didn't discover this until she was 15 or 16 going through her phone?
Yeah, it's subtle. Yeah. It's subtle. I like it, yeah, in retrospect. she shouldn't have been spending more or less an entire year with a Nigerian family, right? She should have been part of our family.
They don't know how to handle Destiny's questions. They do not know how to handle Destiny's questions. Because I'm going to be kind of honest with you. The people that they had been dealing with before Destiny were kind of bottom of the barrel. Just saying.
Why are you going through text messages on your daughter's phone?
Well, I just kind of wanted to see if like she was in trouble, or I didn't know her that well. I agree that it's wrong. I agree that it's wrong to do that.
Had you ever gone through her phone before looking for things?
He was so bad at going through it because I noticed that he opened all these apps that I hadn't had open, and then I texted my friends. My dad went through my phone.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a phone at the time. So it's definitely wrong to do that, but I did it in the right way. You know, it's kind of like going through your kid's diary to see if they're like harming themselves or something. I think my impetus was right. And I'm glad I found that, because it was, you know what I mean? I knew it wasn't like being manipulated. I knew it was the real deal, because that certainly could have been done for my, it wasn't done so that I would find it. Clearly it was just an organic thing. You
guys said that you had like a few other siblings, right? Was John the 18-year-old?
Yeah.
Who is the, yeah. Gotcha. What's like, obviously I've heard you and John fight before on stream. What about the 11, 13, 15?
They do all their fighting on stream. It's kind of intriguing what goes on in their streams. It's also intriguing what they also say in each other's streams too. At one point, the father was in the daughter's stream, and I know exactly what stream it is, and I'll have to go back and get it. But he talks about how his daughter was e-girling it up, or she was doing the e-girl thing. What father talks about their daughter that way? Yeah.
17-year-old. What do those guys do?
What do they do?
Are they like, do they all live with you guys, or are they living with Courtney, or what's going on with that, or whatever?
She's AWOL. She's abandoned the home. She doesn't say where she lives. You know, so I mean, this is a real problem, because.
Or I mean, so are all 6 children then living in the same house as you guys? Like all of you guys are all living together right now? 6 children and you?
My son's an adult, so he moved away. It was just crazy. I think you saw some of that stuff. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. We both went to jail. I was accused of trying to murder him. All this stuff. It was crazy. So, and then, so what happened is, Courtney and I, Grace's mother and I, separated. But I became increasingly aware. I separated because she was saying, the problem is you, the problem is you, and the problem is also Grace, because I had become friends with her. So we left.
The problem is also Grace, because I became friends with her. Okay, let's rewind that back. Okay? I'm going to put it on regular mode. Alright.
Grace's mother and I separated. But I became increasingly aware. I separated because she was saying, the problem is you, the problem is you, and the problem is also Grace, because I had become friends with her. So we left.
What father calls their daughter their friend? I mean, now I'm not talking about like later on in life when both are fully when the kid is fully grown and now we can become the friend. But he just said Grace and I were becoming friends.
And then first her older son, John, my older son, John, and then his other 2 brothers went and lived with us across the state. But then I could see that the 2 that remained here were also not being taken care of. And Grace's mother also conceded that. And I was like, this is crazy. So I went over here to take care of them. So now we have 2 residences, and I didn't want to pull those kids out of school. So Grace goes over there, and we have a caretaker when we can't, who is the next door neighbor, so that they have adult supervision.
Okay, so the other kids are in another house with a caretaker instead of living with their father? And Grace goes over there to take care of them? Let me say that again. The youngest kids are in another location with a caretaker instead of living with their father because they, quote unquote, can't find the mother. And Grace goes over there and takes care of them. I want somebody to make that make sense to me. I want somebody to make that make sense to me. It doesn't.
But it's kind of a messy situation, but it happened because,
Yeah.
you know, I was trying to do everything I could to figure out how we could, you know, function. What was the problem here?
Gotcha. So then just to keep track, so wait, Grace, you're 20, right? Mm-hmm. John is 18 and he's gone. And then you've got so are all four, the 17-year-old included, are living with you guys now or in that other house, or?
The two older ones are living where we used to live.
Okay.
And the two younger ones are living here.
Gotcha.
Now it's the two younger ones are living here. And now the two older ones are where we used to live and the two youngest ones are here. You see how the story is changing?
Okay.
Which isn't an ideal situation, but it was kind of an emergency because it wasn't good what we were seeing here.
And do you have like a formal custody arrangement worked out with Courtney, or is everything just kind of?
No, and that's
She
part of
has
the
full
problem.
custody.
I mean, she filed for divorce and then dismissed it, and I mean, I think what the problem is that it's relatively easy to say like, okay, your marriage didn't exist, but it's really hard to admit. It's really hard culturally for a woman to admit that motherhood is something that she's not capable of in the normal sense. It's real that you just don't have.
How can you say that your marriage never exists when you have 6 fucking kids? You can't go oops after 6 kids. I'm not saying you can't get divorced or separate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But how can you get a marriage annulled like it never happened if you had 6 fucking kids? Someone please explain that to me. It makes no fucking sense. Honestly. It makes no fucking sense. And that's a good question too. Wait, if she's AWOL, how the fuck does she have full custody? Great question. There is more questions coming out of this than answers, isn't it?
Have the chops for it. But if you don't have the chops for it, you've got to solve that problem. You cannot abuse children. So I think that's the problem. The temptation becomes, of course, to blame the other spouse. But there is a situation in which someone, I think, is just over their head. So, but I don't think you could just walk away either. Like, she won't even say where she is.
Why haven't you filed for divorce or anything?
It's just been so crazy. But at this point, it doesn't even really matter. I'm not looking to get remarried. Our assets, we rent, and you know, I've taken care of those assets so that the kids are taken care of. And the kids are totally alienated by her, so there's not really a custody dispute.
Yeah, but you're not worried about her coming back and fighting for custody of a child, or if you start to accrue any amount of wealth, she might have a claim to that if you guys are still married.
Yeah.
Or like, how do you guys figure out like who claims who on their taxes? Or
it's just been totally crazy. Like, she's living literally as a fugitive. There are laws against abandoning your spouse and children. You could look it up. Rhode Island General Laws 11-2-1. Laws against abandoning your spouse and children. You could look it up. Rhode Island.
How do you guys figure out like who claims who on their taxes? Or
it's just been totally crazy. Like, she's living literally as a fugitive. There are laws against abandoning your spouse and children. You could look it up. Rhode Island General Laws 11-2-1. But you know, it's the whole idea of like a deadbeat parent.
11-2-1.
And she won't communicate with any of us. Right. And she has this group of trolls who she thinks are her friends, but are just using her as their personal lol cow and trying to get her to act as, you know, irrational as possible for their yucks. So it's really strange. Yeah.
If you were to ask Courtney,
yeah, it's really strange. Yeah.
or if we were to ask Courtney if she was here, what do you think her reason would be for why she abandoned the family?
She would say that I have problems that I'm not admitting to. But then if I was to specify what they were, there was never an explanation.
What's like a grievance that she's aired about you that she feels is hurting her ability to remain present with the family?
Well, she'll say something like, I've never really been able to tell my side.
You know what? Sayla. Is it Sayla? Am I saying your name right? Is it Sayla? Okay, I'm going to say Sayla until you tell me something different, because I don't like messing people's names up. But he was talking about Roger Brown from The Boy. Okay? Okay, great. I'm saying it right. Sayla, let me ask you something. That's where they come from, isn't it? Because one thing I noticed when I was just skimming through, not watching full live streams, when I was skimming through, what I noticed was there was quite a few people that also go to Krama and watch their live streams. And I used to always call Krama the boy. I noticed a lot of people who watch the Krama community live streams. I wouldn't say a lot, quite a few. We'll say quite a few, because a lot sounds like it's most, all right? I noticed quite a few, the same name people who are in those Krama live streams are in the live streams of these guys. So, okay. So I'm starting to connect the dots then. Because I know what comes out of the Krama community. I did my series on them. They burnt me out. I couldn't finish it. And what comes out of the Krama community, people? If you didn't watch my series, let me tell you. What comes out of the Krama series? You have a lot of calling CPS, calling the police, calling government agencies on people. You have a lot of doxing. You have a lot of scamming. You have a lot of people who start shit just to start shit because it's Tuesday. The drama goes beyond YouTube into real life. They are literally trying to fuck people's lives up. That's where these people come from. Maybe not exactly Krama, but in that genre. Because guess what bumps right beside Krama? Boit. And Boit is bottom of YouTube. Yeah, it's Xbox 360 in real life. Yes. Yes, just another story. It's Xbox 360 in real life. Yes. These people have been brushing elbows with Krama and Boit. I knew it. Thank you, Sayla, because all you confirmed what I was thinking when I was watching their live stream. Because here's the thing. Before I came to commentary community, Sayla, I don't know if you know this, but when I was in the before I came into the commentary community, I used to be part of the beauty drama community. And one thing we learned in beauty drama, you listen to a live stream, but you watch the chat, because in the chat is where the tea is. Those chats of these people are amazing, especially when I see the same people that used to come over here when I used to watch Krama, or the same people who are in those Krama chats. 1 + 1 = 2. Courtney, do you think Ben is holding on to his marriage as a control thing, whether it's him playing the victim or him being the straw man? I'm going to let you know what I think. I'm going to let you know what I think in a little bit. Because something's off. Something's off. And I honestly think it might be an obvious thing, but not obvious to everybody.
Of the story, or you require that she'll say to me, you require that I agree with you about everything, which is a way of saying like that I have to agree with her about everything.
What's like an example of a disagreement you guys might have?
You know, the weird thing is there isn't much of a disagreement. Like, she thinks I'm a more capable parent. There was no doubt about that. She never said the kids are in danger in any way.
Yeah.
Look, see what I'm telling you. This is what happened when I became friends with Grace. She thought we were.
You hear that? That's his second reference to him and Grace being friends. That's his second reference to him and Grace being friends.
having an affair, right? And she became extreme, but she knew that wasn't happening. But like somewhere in her mind, it just went crazy. It just went totally crazy. And you had this classic sort of stepmother, beautiful stepdaughter routine in it.
Did you hear that? We're gonna put this on regular speed. I want y'all to hear this loud and clear.
Happening, but like somewhere in her mind, it just went crazy. It just went totally crazy. And you had this classic sort of stepmother, beautiful stepdaughter routine.
They had the classic stepmother, beautiful stepdaughter, beautiful stepdaughter routine. Why would he reference his wife and his daughter as stepmother and stepdaughter? Why would he reference them that way? So she's obvious. So she's friends twice, and now it's stepmother and stepdaughter. Why would he reference his wife and his daughter, who she was supposedly the firstborn between them two, as stepmother, stepdaughter? Y'all are looking way too deep into it. Y'all, when she's supposedly her mother, why would he call her the stepmother?
And it was.
What do you mean by stepmother? She's the biological mother, right?
No, I know, but you know, like in the stories, like the older woman loses her beauty and resents the young. I mean, it's a classic Freudian trope, I think.
Oh, you mean a Freudian slip? Is that what you mean? Do you mean a Freudian slip? Sir, did you just get caught up by destiny?
Biological mother, right?
No, I know, but you know, like in the stories, like the older woman loses her beauty and resents the young. I mean, it's a classic Freudian trope, I think. But it was crazy. I was like, what are you talking about? I have no... Grace is not my... I'm not looking for...
Grace is not your what?
I think she was looking for something to be a fulcrum in her life that she could be a victim of. And I don't think she came up with anything, so she just made... I'm not saying she made it up, because I think... It was crazy. I can describe things that are beyond.
Yeah, I guess what did she ever do to give you an indication that this is a way that she felt threatened by Grace?
Well, she told both of us that, you know, and she was always pretty honest about this, but she told us that she went to a park nearby, Lincoln Woods, and that she was walking around with my younger siblings, and that they were, you know, somewhere off in the field, and that she had a vision of me and my dad having sex.
All right, there's the fifth reference to the incest.
And like, she screamed. I mean, she said that. I don't have any evidence to that happening, but she told me that, and I was like, what? So, you know,
it's crazy.
Stuff like that. I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg.
At one point, you know, we left the home, fled the home, and you know, I was like, you're trying to drive Grace to self-harm. And she was like, yeah, I am. I kind of want her to do that. And you know, she was being honest. But I was like, what?
Yeah, she was being honest. You know, she wants Grace to self-harm. Absolutely. Yes. She was just being honest. You know, she was being honest. Huh. Wow.
How can a parent want their kid to like end themselves?
Why did you guys flee the home?
It was just so crazy. It was just psychic warfare.
Yeah, but like, why wouldn't you get some kind of restraining order or encourage her to leave the home, or like there was no way to get her to step out?
Thing is, I know it kind of like sounds crazy, but I remember I was like, okay,
Does
well
it?
maybe it's just like this thing with
You
me and my
think?
dad. She just can't handle, but like I know she's a rational person. Like she can cook and clean and make food. And I was like, okay, don't wanna. My younger siblings are living here, and I think me and my dad were just kind of like, okay, this is reaching a breaking point. Why don't we just get some space?
Yeah.
We went to a hotel, and we're just like, okay, let's just.
Yeah,
And then
you
we
try to
found another
tweak things.
place. And it's like, okay, you know, like I don't want to ruin everybody's life. I was out of school at the time, so I was like,
I hadn't
you know,
explored
she's
the annulment
capable of
thing.
taking care of kids.
I hadn't explored the annulment thing.
Sure.
You know, so I thought I was married, and I thought, like, well, of course, for the kids' sake, we should work this out.
He always goes back to the annulled thing. He always goes back to that.
If we're married, we should work it out. And often in traditional circles, this like you've got to work out your marriage thing becomes, I think, an unbelievable torture chamber for people who lack, let's say, extended family support structures, who come from, both of us come from broken
Pro-grip?
families.
I
in her
don't think
case,
so.
Incredibly
I
broken
really don't
families in
think
which
so.
Her father largely just left the family, so she had tons of these sort of abandonment issues. And, you know, sometimes you cannot fix it. So that even when you give it space, it becomes abandonment, right? So then it becomes, either you're there and you're the abuser, or you leave and you've abandoned her. And so no matter what you do,
Yeah, especially if she's like getting
psychically-
like super crazy or whatever. I can imagine wanting to put some space between you guys.
yeah, and then the kids suffer because they start being used as pawns.
Yeah, for sure. Just curious, for your recollection of like leaving, whose idea was it first to leave the house?
We had so many configurations of different people because we had real estate, so we could shift. You know, I could move into an Airbnb. So I can't even remember how many times we tried to arrange things to cause to just get some stability. And
Yeah, seriously. I mean, we had
We've only gotten
we had 3
stability now.
properties. We originally were in our family house, and
And there she is saving him. She's saving his ass right there. Because he started slipping up. She saved his ass in the conversation.
arrange things to cause to just get some stability. And
yeah, seriously. I mean, we had
We've only
we
gotten
had 3
stability now.
properties. We originally were in our family house, and then I think
She's better at it than he is. She's a lot better at it than he is. He's not good. She's good.
I moved out because I was 16 or something, and I was like, you know what? There's an extra apartment. I could live there by myself, almost 17. And then my dad moved over, and then a couple of my siblings moved over, and then it was so crazy. And then we just moved around. I was living with my mom. It was just, we tried to configure it in a way where everything would settle down, but it just got worse.
Sure.
Essentially.
So I'm just curious,
Is
in the
that-
event where you guys are having these big disagreements and Grace and Ben, you guys feel like you need to leave, what does that conversation look like? Like, how do you guys figure we need to get out of here and go to a hotel or...
the last situation, I was like, I'm not going to make it through this. I'm going to have a total mental breakdown.
Yeah.
I got to just walk out of here with the clothes.
Is it though, Moody? I hope she's streaming when she wakes up and realizes this abuse is from her dad. Really? I don't know.
On my back, get in a car in the middle of winter in a blizzard, and just get the fuck out of here because I can't do this. I can't wake up to this intense, like, you know. And what happens? I don't think there's a mechanism in our society, especially in like traditional cultures, for women to say, I'm not up to this task. I can't do it. And they get guilty. I think when people get stuck in guilt, they can't negotiate it. They can't just forgive them. I don't believe in forgiving themselves, but they can't just ask forgiveness of God and those around them. And I've seen it so many times. People get stuck in patterns of guilt, and it just snowballs because you can't deal with guilt on that level. You can't deal with it. If you were supposed to be a wife and a mother of 6 kids, and that's what you invested your life in, and that's what you gave everything to, but you just weren't up for it, and you got called on it.
So now he's doing those traditional talking points to get to the people who believe in traditional values, to get his side, like him going on the Crucible and him talking with other red pillars, you know, nice traditional red pillars, to get him out there, and finally it leads to destiny. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? I don't think you are. I don't think y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. I really don't.
Like, you're not up for this. It's really hard to pivot.
Sure, I can understand that. I'm just kind of curious why, when you left the house, because you're having too much, I guess, mental anguish and dealing with this, which I think is fair, why would Grace come with you? Why her as the only kid? Why not any of the other children?
Yeah, because she was also, so she was, you know, seen as the enemy.
It was extremely rough between me and my mom.
I did
Even
try to leave her
rougher,
sometimes.
sometimes even rougher than between her and my dad. So, you know, and also the other kids were in school and I wasn't. So.
Well, the other problem was that this kind of sense that like Dad and Grace are up to something suspicious was like oozing through the household. And so like the other kids were like, I don't know what's going on with these conversations. And, you know, so they got the sense like, I don't want to be like Grace. I don't want to have my life destroyed. So they were like, I want nothing to do with these people. Maybe they're the bad people.
Ow,
You know, I was just alienated from my kids. It was like, it was a war, and I had to win. I'm still trying to win them back over. They barely talk to me. They get really stressed out when they talk. Because I was see what happens if you want to be portrayed as the bad guy is the insinuation is that you're crazy, that you're sexually insane, and that you're violent, ultra violent. Even when there's no evidence for that whatsoever, it's pretty easy to act around a man.
You know what makes him not good at it? He talks too much. His problem is he talks too much. But you know who gives him validity? She does. Because she's good at what she does. She's good at what she does. He's not. She gives him validity. Hence the reason why, well, one, she's younger, prettier, and a woman. But she's got more subs than him. She's better at it than he is.
Like he's like that. And people buy it.
So
if you always act nervous around a man,
mm-hmm.
the kids will pick up on the implicit fear, even if it's not stated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big person. I'm a big personality, but
what about so did the rest of the kids then, did they kind of get along with mom then, or?
No, it was awful. So when we left, we left, and because the idea was, oh, it's that's the problem. So I was like, okay, we'll just cut off completely. You do your thing. If this can work it out, you work it out. So I didn't really communicate with them. I invited them. We were living in a hotel for a little while. Invited them over to the hotel, but they were leery of the whole thing. They just wanted stability. Uh-huh. But when we finally came back, they said it was the worst time they've ever had in their lives.
When you guys were in the household, or when?
No, when we left. So when we left, she became extremely depressed and was drinking and not responding. So it was, I didn't know that at the time, but like they were suffering because she just couldn't. I mean, for 5 years, she's just been non-responsive.
Did you just have no contact with any of those children ever? You never talked to them or anything, or didn't have a way?
No, I did. I wanted them to feel free to reach out to me, and I invited them to the hotel, and a couple times they came over. But it's just weird, It's just a weird. I didn't want it to become like even more.
Okay, program. I like how you said, yeah, this guy is nothing but red flags. Okay. Okay, how do I put this? So, anybody who's played an MMO, right? You always have that tank character, right? The tank character takes all the blows. And then you have your main DPS person. And since the tank's taking all the blows, the main DPS person can go in much easier. Okay? He's the tank. He is the tank. She's the DPS. Raps check for $1.99. I bet you're right. It makes so much sense. Thank you. She gives more validity to him. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
Of a war, So I was hoping that she'd be able to, without me and Grace there, to be able to stabilize things. But it was deeper than that problem. It was just a fundamental relationality problem.
No, not at all.
I guess one of the things that's confusing me is I don't understand why Grace seems to be singled out so hard here. Earlier we talked about you going through her phone or checking it. Why check Grace's phone? Why not any of the other children's phones?
Well, she was the oldest, so...
Yeah, but the younger brother is 2 years younger. I'm sure he had a phone. He was probably texting, right?
Well, so I think the abuse happens in this situation.
There you go, Courtney. Ben is obvious, but Grace is tricky even if there are signs. Uh-huh. There's a lot of signs. Like, they have mentioned it 5 times. I did a little ticker on my piece of paper here. 5 times halfway through this conversation, 5 times they've referenced the incest. Why do they want Destiny to talk about the incest so bad? Wouldn't that be something you wouldn't want people to talk about? Wouldn't that be something that you wouldn't want people to talk about? You would want to get away from, and that's bullshit? Why would you 5 times reference it? Why would you twice reference that she's your friend and then turn around and reference after you said that she was the firstborn with your wife, that she got pregnant when y'all weren't married yet, but now all of a sudden it's stepdaughter, stepmother?
The first one who reaches that age. So
no, that's not what I'm saying, Ambertick, at all.
Yeah, you said the first one that reaches that age, but you also said earlier that she was being abused since she was 8 or 9 years old. You noticed when she was around 15, 16.
Yeah.
So surely if you start to notice this, you must think that the other kids could be being abused as well. So I'm trying to figure out, why would you just go through Grace's phone and not any of the other children's phones? Had you ever gone through her phone before, or was that the first time?
I mean, not really. Not that I know of, or what. I don't know. Not.
How did you get into her phone? Usually people tend to have like passwords.
Marie, this is the first time I've talked about them. No, they haven't come to my chat. I doubt they will find out who I am. Just saying. And if they do come to my chat, they can come to my chat. I'll still talk my shit, whether they're in the chat or not. Have y'all met me? Have y'all met me? What?
Or locks on their phone. How did you get into it?
I don't remember. I didn't know anything about it, so like I think I went. Yeah, I looked a few times, and just to see what was up, And so she caught me doing that, and I said to her, I'm sorry for that. But
I don't have a bunch of subs. I don't have like him kind of subs. I don't have a bunch of subs. I'm still a tiny. You do realize I'm still a micro channel, right? Almost 6K is not big. The incest narrative was already packed down, so they already know what to say on that. But it's the other shit they're not prepared for, so they're defensive. Bingo. Why are they defensive? Because they're so used to grifting everybody. They're so used to grifting their story. And it finally got them to Destiny, a huge YouTuber. A YouTuber that is known beyond YouTube. Again, you have to know where they came from to understand what I'm saying.
But why not my son? I mean, he was a couple years younger. He was still a freshman. I wasn't that concerned about him as I was with her, because I think Grace had gotten the brunt of the abuse, and so she was kind of alienated. So I was like, I could see that she was alienated. She wasn't connecting with the rest of the family, and so I was concerned. To be frank, I was concerned that she was into drugs.
Subs, if they hear their name 3 times in the atmosphere, they will appear. Well, they can come on in. I don't give a shit. I wouldn't be surprised if they show up here. They love when anyone talks about that. Oh, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. Most grifters do, Floating. Most grifters do love people talking about them. That's how they get known. That's exactly how they get known. They wanted this attention, asking for their grift. I watch wrestling. These people are carny folk. Interesting, after the Mr. Girl manifesto, people are joining Destiny for class. It's amazing, isn't it, Courtney? It is absolutely amazing. It is absolutely amazing. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Drugs and sex and things like that. Because I think that's what happens to alienated girls at that age.
What was the confrontation like when you found out that your dad was going through your phone? What was that confrontation like, or what did that look like? How did that even happen?
I mean, it was so obvious. I knew it as soon as, because he said, like, Grace, can you unlock your phone? I need to find an old contact I saved in here or something. And I was like, there's none of your contacts in here. So, but I don't know. I think essentially one day he was like, Grace, I know that I've been looking through your phone. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I know we don't really talk much, but, I was kind of like, I don't remember. I think I said, like, I wish you wouldn't do that, but, like, I get it because we don't really talk much, so.
I actually saw in your phone one time that it said, like.
And I'm going to say this. I love the sweet side of her. Because right now you're showing the sweet, she's showing the sweet side of her.
LOL, my dad is looking through my phone. I was like, oh, shit. So I think the dig was up.
What, just curious. Okay. All right, I got some of the day here. Okay, so for Grace, what is your school life like? I'm curious.
My school life?
Yeah, like tell me, like, did you go to normal school? Did you go to regular? Did you go to private school when you were homeschooled? When did you leave? Yeah, I'm just curious what the timeline on that looks like.
I was homeschooled until 3rd and 4th grade, went to 3rd and 4th grade in public school, homeschooled again until 8th grade, then went to public school, and then I dropped out in my junior year of high school halfway through when COVID hit because I hated online school, so I just kind of stopped going. And also that was when like the family stuff really got crazy, so I was just like, I can't.
Yeah, COVID was part of it. COVID brought the, made it have a crisis.
So you were homeschooled until 3rd or 4th grade?
Yeah, I went to 3rd and 4th grade in public school.
Wait, you went to 3rd and 4th grade in public school?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then back to homeschooling.
And then in 8th grade you went to normal school?
Yeah.
And then for high school you were?
It was what was a magnet school?
Gotcha. And then you dropped out when you were when you were junior, or?
Like halfway through junior year. I mean, it was like maybe March or what's after March, April of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It was COVID, right?
Yeah, I tried to stick around for like a couple months, but I couldn't do it. So.
What was so difficult about high school?
Well, I really liked going to high school in a lot of ways. I did like tennis and different clubs, and I was like whatever, fairly popular, I guess. But when it went online, I just couldn't take it because I just couldn't. I don't know. I know that's ironic now that I do streaming.
I don't call it Destiny's fault because this is intriguing. This is intriguing as hell. You might as well blame me on how much I'm going to cover them. Because this is going to be more than one episode. It's probably going to be more than 2 or 3. Because I am enthralled with them. Because I love snuffing out the truth. I really do. I love snuffing out the truth. And I want to snuff out the truth with these two.
But I just couldn't take it. Like all the fun was gone, and it was just really awful and stifling. And I was moving out at the time because the stuff with my mom got so crazy. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a break, and if I need to get my GED later, that's fine.
Do you think when you were, so was any of high school in person or was it all online? Like was freshman year in person and then sophomore, junior was online, or junior was online, or?
No, only.
Thank you for joining Just Saying Squad, Marie.
Only junior. Only like March 2020 in junior. That was halfway through junior year. Mm-hmm. That was when it started being online, and a month or 2 later, I just stopped going.
Gotcha. Did you make friends in high school? Do you feel like you had friends in high school?
Yeah, I had a lot of friends.
Gotcha. Were you like dating in high school?
And see, and there's another thing too. I notice in the comment section, people will like make a complaint about them, and somebody will go under there and say, "Yeah, it's called satire." And then in one of the chats, I can't remember which chat it was, but they were saying, oh my God, okay, hold on one second. I have to actually go look for the name. I know the name. Damn, Jaded. Jaded sending me 5,000. Yes, Original Owl. Yes. Okay, so in one of the chats, I think, I want to say it was one of her chats. It might have been his. Somebody wrote in the chat, Original Owl is talking about you now. Original Owl is talking about you now. It's like it's going as planned. That's out there too. Somebody literally typed that in chat. Original Owl is talking about you now. It's going as planned. Or something in that sense. But they did say the word plan. Oh, wait, wrong button. My bad. Actually, okay, guys, hold on. Let me go take a potty break real quick. Let me grab me a drink, or I'll just bring the whole damn 2-liter with me. I'll be right back, all right? Just talk among yourselves. I'll be right back. Hold on one second. I'm back. I hope Xylie covers more than 6 on this. Something tells me that this is going to be big. I'm going to watch it every single time. Xylie is going to go off big time. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Let's keep going.
Like boyfriends and stuff?
Not really.
Gotcha.
But like 1 or 2. But
Okay.
not really. Sorry, Dad.
Did you
boyfriends though?
No, I went on a couple dates. I didn't really have boyfriends. I had crushes, but not really.
Gotcha.
Young kids these days, they don't have boyfriends, right?
No, it was mostly like hookup kind of
They
stuff
hook
at
up.
my school, and I wasn't really into it, so I just kind of didn't do it.
Did you ever like when you just for like communicating with people at school? Did you ever like talk explicitly with anybody, like texting or on apps or anything like that?
What do you mean?
I don't know, like sexting people or sending nudes or whatever. I don't know what kids in high school do these days.
No, not really. No.
Gotcha.
Was this an interrogation of my sexual history in high school? You creep.
Well,
the
something you
child.
said, yeah.
Well, you had explored things online, right?
Yeah, no, I wasn't like whatever. I wasn't like sexually super innocent, but I mean, I wasn't like hooking up with people.
You said you'd explored things online. What was that an allusion?
If you notice, they save each other back and forth. They go back and forth and save each other. You know what I mean? He's basically telling her, don't make yourself out to be too much of a prude. He saved her. They save each other. She saves him more than he saves her, but they save each other.
And two.
I mean, I've talked about this before. I got into porn very early in my life, and it was sort of like a very, very dark secret that I kept for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
I was very alienated.
Mm-hmm. So something I'm kind of curious about. If you're having conversations with your friends, if you've got these kind of like pornographic secrets that you're looking at, and you're obviously a growing young girl doing all this, how did it not bother you or feel strange when your dad was looking through your phone?
No, I mean, I didn't like it, but I kind of was like, well, I kind of thought, like, you know, I don't know. I guess parents can look through your phone. I was like, well, you know, he's probably checking in on me. And I was kind of embarrassed of my Instagram because I took, like, a couple selfies that were, like, you know, cringy or whatever. But, I mean, I didn't want him to look through because I didn't want to see. But, you know, I hid everything pretty well. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I guess. But earlier you said that when he asked to go through your phone to look for contacts, you kind of knew that he was, like, digging through stuff, but you, like, gave him the passwords and let him in and everything anyway, no?
Yeah, because I was like, well, he's my dad. He can, you know, he pays for this phone if he wants to look through it. Like, I can't, you know, our relationship was kind of tense. So I was like, well, you can look, you know, whatever. It's his right.
Okay.
But I didn't love it.
Certainly his right, but
Okay, I'm so old, I wouldn't know what that was like, okay? We didn't have cell phones when I was a teenager. I was a full grown-ass woman by the time I got my cell phone. Just saying.
Real pictures.
Do what?
Destiny, please ask if he remembers the Instagram pictures she's talking about.
I remember
Look,
that.
we can't beat around the bush. Go ahead, go ahead, say it. I mean, why don't you just say it? The answer is no. The answer is no. Okay, Steven?
I was just curious.
You
It's
can
just
ask her what you want, but it's a little undignified. I'm a grown man talking with you. I'm 51 years old. I have 6 kids. You could just ask the question, but you know.
Oh, I'm not asking the question.
We've
I'm
heard
more.
it a million times.
Yeah, I was.
Oh! Are they referencing it a 6th time? They really, really, really want Destiny to talk about the incest. They really do. It's almost uncanny how much they want Destiny to talk about the incest.
Just more interested in.
Jesus Christ.
I was just more
have
interested.
dignity as a person, right?
It was just interesting to me.
I'm not on the stand here, right?
True. It was just interesting to me that a teenage girl didn't seem to have any problems that her dad, that she had a strained and
They didn't
tense
have
relationship
problems.
with, was going through her phone. That seems kind of weird.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like a
I said I
teenage girl would be
was-
pretty irritated by that.
No, I complained to my friend. It's just we didn't talk much, so I was like, well, I guess it's his right. And
We didn't have a close relationship. That's true. So I didn't really know her, and I was concerned about her, and I was like, you know, what's going on? And there were things on there that were indicators to me of something unhealthy. So I pursued it, and then I was like, actually, this is just fine. All this is totally normal.
Sure. So you just communicated to her that you just were trying to figure out what was going on or what was she up to, I guess, when you were asking for phone.
Yeah, I
stuff?
totally confessed or whatever. Let's see, when you say that, you're portraying me as. Did I look at her diary sometimes when she was away to see if she was okay? Yes. Should I do that? I think if you're concerned about someone, you will do that.
Well, I was only asking because earlier it seemed like you said that you were kind of like lying about why you were looking for her phone. You were asking for a contact or something. But now it seems like you're saying that.
Yeah, I lied to her about it.
No,
yeah.
he lied. He lied to me to get into my phone, but I knew it was a lie. So
I
was
don't
like,
think
okay,
that
he wants
minor
to check
children
on
have
me.
an absolute right to privacy.
I don't think that either.
But you know, especially if it's something like having to, you know, she seemed very alienated, and I do know that drugs And, you know, promiscuity can be problems in that situation. So I poked around a little because, you know, we didn't have a close enough relationship where I could just ask. So
earlier when I was asking,
Steven, can you crack a smile? Jesus Christ.
Steven, I'm not in the fucking therapist room, and you're not my fucking therapist.
well, what are we doing here? I
Sorry.
thought I'm just asking questions. That's what we're doing,
Well,
right?
don't alpha me.
I'm not alphaing anybody. I'm literally.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you now, if I have a child and I'm worried about them, I'm absolutely looking through their diary. I'm absolutely looking through my child's diary if I feel like something's wrong with them. Absolutely. I'm not going to look through it just to be nosy. If I feel like something's wrong with my child and I know they have a diary, I'm absolutely looking at that diary. 100%. They can get pissed off with me about it all they want. I don't care. They're my child. Period. If pissing my kid off saves my kid's life, if pissing my child off saves my kid's life, they can get pissed off. Because I would rather have them here pissed off than not be here if it was a situation like that. I absolutely would go through their diary. And damn, don't think I won't go through that phone either. Yeah, if something feels off, absolutely. Now, if they're, a normal kid and, they're doing normal things and nothing's off, no, I wouldn't go through it. Absolutely not. I wouldn't go through it. But if I feel like something off, I'm absolutely going through my kid's diary, going through their phone, going through all of it. 100%. 100%. That's my child. The hell? Shit. That's my child. I'm here to protect my child whether they like it or not. Now, when they turn 18, they're an adult. I'll do what I have to do to, help them, but at that point, they're an adult. But as my child, shit. Okay.
You are a big streamer.
This is the most beta I've ever been. I'm just asking questions about this anyway. You guys have obviously an interesting history on YouTube. You got an interesting history online.
Let's keep it fun. How about that? Okay. And if you want to say, have I ever done X, Y, and Z with my daughter? You can ask that.
Boom! Reference number 7 about the incest. He has referenced the incest 7 times now. Or they have together referenced the incest 7 times now. They desperately want Destiny to ask about the incest.
Go ahead and ask it, but don't dance around it.
Well, I'm not. I'm just trying to figure out what the
Yeah,
dynamic
you are.
is.
You're dancing around it.
I'm not dancing around anything.
Yes, you are. How did you feel, Grace? When it just seems like it's a little.
Well, feelings are important, right?
I know when someone's doing something, so just be a man. Just be a man. Ask me a question straight up.
I'm gonna be honest, Amber Chick. Ooh, God, why do they want to talk about it so bad? Because I think it's fucking fake. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's fake. I think it's bullshit. I think they're grifters. I think some of the things that go on between their family dynamic may actually be true, like some of the fights and stuff like that. But I think the incest thing, they're pushing for it way too hard. I don't believe it. I think it's bullshit. But they know, think about it. Okay, take Mr. Girl for example. All right? Why does everybody want to talk to Mr. Girl? Because he's the pedo. He's the guy that talked about cuties. Remember what I said about Mr. Girl? That I somehow feel like he's really not a pedo, but he's just really an abusive person? And he hides behind the pedo stuff because he got known for his cuties review, which was made for shock value? Their shock value is the incest. And people will want to talk to you because, hey guys, tonight on my channel, I have a father-daughter combo that they actually have, they may or may not actually have incest going on. People would go and watch that. People would go and watch that. That which would generate more views for their fucking channels. Hint for $5. They're expecting Do You Raw Dog Your Daughter to get the clips rolling. Thank you. Yes. Yes. They want notoriety. I think the incest is bullshit. But they want the clips. They want the clips to turn into and generate people going to their channel going, oh God, well, I wonder what they're going, because they live stream together all the time. So I wonder what they're going to do tonight on live stream. I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder what they're going to talk about. Are they going to fight tonight? What's going to happen? You have to remember where they come from on YouTube, where they come from. These people are notorious for fucking lying. I have heard so many fake cancer stories coming out of those two genres in YouTube. There's fake cancer stories. There's fake family members dying. There's fake miscarriages. There's fake births. There's fake everything you can think of. But you don't hear incest very much. And man, when you get so used to all those fake family members dying, and when you get used to all those fake miscarriages and those fake cancer diagnoses, incest sounds pretty intriguing. I think it's bullshit. I really do. Now, I don't know how much bullshit they're spewing, but I think the incest thing is bullshit. Unless I get 100% fact, I'm calling bullshit on the incest. Because they are asking him way too much to talk about it. 7 times. Yeah, 7 times. They have brought it up for him to talk about. Why would you want somebody like Destiny to think why would you want somebody like Destiny to think that you're incestuous with your child? Why? Why would you do that? It's fucking Destiny. It's Destiny. Why would you want him to think you do that? Because it's bullshit. It's a fucking work.
What are you guys hoping to get out of a conversation with me?
Tons of views and subscriptions on YouTube.
True.
We're here to use you.
There we go. There you go. He just said it. Goddamn, I said my shit just in time, didn't I?
Straight up.
What are you guys hoping to get out of a conversation with me?
Tons of views and subscriptions on YouTube.
The only honest fucking thing that's probably come out of his mouth the whole time.
True.
We're here to use you. No. Steven, can I tell you a little bit about what I want to do in the world?
Go for it.
I want to create, and I want you to help me create, a new category. It's the new big thing. It's called the centrist edgelord. Because our culture has split, not irreparably, into right and left. And these two groups don't talk to each other. And the center is often seen, and I've seen your content. I initially thought you were like one of these boring kind of centrists, like where there's you know what I mean? Like it could be the worst of both worlds to be a centrist. But I think you're trying to carve out a space where you're taking the best of both sides and leaving out all the acrimony. So I think that our Holy Father, Pope Francis, is the great centrist edgelord.
Okay. Out of everything that we've heard come out of this person's mouth, okay? I'm trying to keep this clean as possible so I can keep the green dollar sign. Okay. Out of everything this man has said, if you can't tell that he is full of shit with just the last couple of sentences that has come out of his mouth, then you are gullible. Literally. You are gullible. This guy is full of shit. 100%. Yeah, I think the religious part is part of the corn factor too. Yes. I think it's all a grift. I do.
People on the right hate him. People on the left hate him. Everyone hates him, so he must be doing something right. As was our Lord Jesus Christ. He was a centrist edgelord. He was not a radical. He was. Not
I don't care about your Sky Daddy.
Does that sound cool?
You lose me at Sky Daddy.
Yeah, if that's your goal. I mean, I imagine that's pretty similar to what I'm trying to do, yeah?
But you got it. But a lot of people say that, well, how can you be an edgelord if you're in the center?
You just attack everybody, right?
Well, I would say the Catholic faith represents, because the word Catholic means universal. Like, you have people we've been in the manosphere and what I call the vagosphere, which is the other side. And the people in the manosphere are basically, the whole thing is about how women are worthless and we should just go our own way. The most extreme of it, right? And I get it. You can get frustrated. I've been there. Women often, and I guess you would say, hardcore feminists, just see men as always wrong and bad. Well, it can't be, right? It's got to be that men and women find a solution in the middle. So both sides are wrong.
Yeah, that would be the centrist position, right?
Steven, you seem bored.
I'm just...
But Moody, was he really a Christian teacher? Can we believe that? Can we actually believe that with all the other lies? Because here's my thing. If you start telling me a bunch of bullshit, I'm not going to believe a damn word that comes out of your mouth. So was he really a teacher? Do we really know that for a fact? I mean, if there's evidence out there that I'm not going to go looking for, because to find something out like that, I would have to know personal shit, and I'm not trying to find personal shit. So if it just so happens to pop up in a video of his, okay, there's the proof. But I don't know at this point. I don't know if I even believe he did that. To be honest. I don't know. And I bet you people did run background checks on them because of the communities he came from. See, the communities they come from are not very good communities. The communities they come from are the reason why I shut down my Facebook when I started covering trauma, because they like to Facebook dox people. He doesn't come from a very good community.
You're deflated.
When I'm not screaming at people, I'm just, hanging out. It's pretty late for me, okay?
Let's get into it. Let's get into it a little.
Well, what are we going to get into?
You tried to do your whole, are you a child molester routine. Okay, that's over. Now let's try to lighten it up a little bit. Unless you want to really get into that.
Why do you think I'm a child? Why do you think I think you're a child molester?
Well, I mean, my God.
Oh, there we go. Number 8.
It's fine. All right. So how about Steven Crowder? The man is totally
hold on.
innocent.
That's a debate for tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Don't give away our position. Come on.
Yeah.
And did you hear we're doing a debate afterwards? A 6-way, 3-part debate with Milo Yiannopoulos showing up for the second round.
You think he's going to?
I don't know. Someone put a video of me.
He gets real happy about that clout, doesn't he? He gets real happy about that clout.
I was in one of those.
We're collar guy for 2. He's running a con with this Catholic takes. Yeah, I think so too. I agree. I actually agree with you, Weird Collar Guy. Normally I'm like, about what you say, but no, I actually agree with you on this one, 100%.
Those little circles, and just randomly when we were tiny on YouTube, gave it to Milo Yiannopoulos, and you know what his response was?
Yes, mine too, Ruin Leon. Mine too.
He makes me want to be gay again.
Why is that?
I don't know. I guess I have a certain sexual charisma.
Wait, he makes you
Being
what?
on YouTube. Gave it to Milo Yiannopoulos, and you know what his response was? He makes me want to be gay again.
Oh, okay. Milo said that.
Why is that?
I don't know. I guess I have a certain sexual charisma.
Dear God. Dear God almighty.
At least in his book. So I tried to pawn him off on Grace and say, well, why don't you try to be heterosexual instead of, sticking
That
with the
didn't
old
work out
routine.
too well.
And he rejected our offer. So,
Bullshit. Bullshit.
We'll call it a tentative yes from Milo.
That feels like
But
a
anyways,
definite
it's gonna
no,
be fun.
but- Okay.
You never.
Milo hasn't been relevant in years, but Milo just had the debate with Destiny, and Milo was working with Yee. So they're still, listen, Milo has more clout than they do.
Never know with Milo. But it's gonna be fun anyways. We have Tom Foolery. Who else? K Fellows. Anyways, it's gonna be a big day tomorrow.
Let me approach you let's turn the tables on you, right? I don't know if this is true. I have no idea, but you have an open marriage. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm not sure what that means for each partner, but I think I understand the gist of it.
We just fuck everybody, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Destiny literally does. Literally does. He a hoe.
So what happens when there's a child produced from that?
Well, there's birth control and abortion, so hopefully that doesn't happen unless something insane happens.
So murder is the solution?
If you consider abortion murder, then I suppose.
Okay, so if a partner, so all this is if a partner gets another partner pregnant and it's not the two of you, the main two, then your solution is abort the child?
If we fuck up on the birth control and shit gets really fucked and that's what happens, yeah, that would probably be the solution, yeah.
And you don't feel any qualms about setting up setting something up in which your solution is death?
Well, I don't consider abortion to be the murder of a child, so it's not really a...
Yeah, he's trying to impress or trigger Destiny in all the wrong ways. Yep.
Quandary that I think on a lot.
You don't?
I do not consider it to be a person now.
Oh, right. I've heard you do the person thing. Yeah. Well, we could do that another time. Okay. So you have no qualms whatsoever about
we talk about abortion a little bit. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, hold on. Let me skip ahead.
I asked to look through her phone, and sometimes I didn't. I don't even remember how I got on her phone. Right? Keeping all these details straight is very, very, very difficult.
Okay, so that was pretty much the end of that conversation. Grace comes back. All right? Grace comes back. Hold on. Let me grab my pizza. Hold on. Shit. Leave me alone. A bitch is hungry. A bitch is hungry. Now that I'm awake again. Okay, so Grace comes back. All right? Now, I want y'all to hear how Grace talks when she comes back. All right? Listen to this.
What the was that?
What was what?
What in the actual flying was that? Jesus Christ.
What was what?
You asked me to come on to talk, and then you sit there and you act like an awkward silence means that. Just say it, Destiny. You want to say it? Go ahead, say it. I'm abused. I'm not interesting. I'm an abuse victim. Go ahead. Is that what it is?
Didn't I already tell you that verbatim before we even had the call? Didn't I say I'm pretty sure you're being abused by your dad, and I want to talk to you guys to figure that out? Isn't that what I said exactly?
No, you did not say that. We were joking around.
Wait, so I didn't say it, or I did say it and you interpreted it as a joke?
What did you say? Okay, you said we're gonna dig into this family shit as much as your dad is comfortable. He can come along too. I went on your stream. You didn't say, oh, I think you're an abuse victim. Just say it to my face. Say it. Go ahead. I'm an abuse victim.
I thought I said this yesterday or 2 days ago. We were speaking in like on voice. I thought I said that. Yeah, of course. Obviously, I do. Didn't I say that? That's why I thought you picked up.
What's the abuse?
What's the abuse? I think that your dad kind of picked you out at when you were a little bit younger, and you were kind of like his little sidekick in fighting the rest of the family, essentially.
Okay, but I have a great relationship with my siblings, and yeah.
Girl, do you? I've heard the streams. Just saying.
I have a close relationship with my dad. What is the fucking problem with that? Have you ever seen an abuse victim, Destiny? Have you ever seen an abuse victim?
Quite a few, yeah.
Okay. Do they act like me?
Almost exactly.
Do they have a bright... Oh, okay, so most abuse victims have a bright personality, they're fun, they're engaging, and they're skinny and pretty. No, they're fat, blue-haired lesbians.
Excuse me, I'm not a lesbian. Just saying, bitch. I'm not a lesbian, okay? I'm a happily married woman to a man. I am not a lesbian, okay? But you see how she rolls up in here? Like, now she's alpha female, right? That whole, I'm the HBIC, okay? She's rolling up in here like she the HBIC. Girl, you sound fake. But if you notice, she's a better talker than he is.
There are plenty of incredibly pretty abuse victims. I wouldn't say that you have a bright personality. I think you can be quite biting at times. But I think that you've picked up a lot of behaviors from your dad. I think that you are incredibly isolated with him. I think that him and you together, which is kind of weird, work as an attack on a family, on your family. You seem to fight with him a lot. I've seen you do it with your brother, I've seen you do it with your mom. And it feels like he looks at you way more as a friend and partner, not romantically, but a friend partner, more than like a father-daughter.
Yeah, I'm friends with my dad. Are you friends with your dad?
No, they're my parents. I'm friendly now, I guess, but I'm 34. I'm an adult.
I'm an adult too.
Girl, you're 20. Shut the hell up. You ain't a full grown ass adult. You are like, I just became an adult. Okay? You don't get full grown ass until you're like 25. Alright? Because there's still a lot of learning to do. You don't all of a sudden become an adult. Well, you become an adult at 18, but you don't get the adult mindset as soon as you become an adult. Okay? Once you have the adult mindset, then you're a full grown ass adult. Just saying.
I'm not a baby.
I mean, you are an adult. You're 20 years old.
Yeah, I'm an adult, so I can be friends with my parents.
Yeah,
are you an abuse victim because you're friends with your parents?
You didn't start becoming friends with your parents when you were 20. You started at 14 or 15 when he took you away from your mom and moved you into a hotel for a while, while claiming that she was the one abandoning the family.
He did not take me away. That was years into it, and I left with him, and I was 18 at the time, because we moved here, and then a year later, I was 18 or 19, and I left, and I said, I can't take it anymore.
Did you say you can't take it anymore, or did he tell you that you couldn't take it anymore? Because it sounds like all of the abuse that you recognize was done with his assistance.
I couldn't take any more living with a mother who didn't want me in her house because she thought I was stealing her husband. Does that ever occur to you that could be the situation?
Does it ever occur to you that she might have a legitimate reason for feeling that way? If her husband
yeah,
was distant
yeah.
from her, wasn't helping her run the restaurant, was avoiding her in the household, and then was getting closer to you, going through your phone, looking at things, and then talking about leaving the household,
Okay.
do you think that
so
she might
you
feel...
side, So you side with the mother who said that she was angry at me for taking her husband away from her and that she wanted me to commit suicide. Good for you, dude. You're a defender of abuse victims for sure. I was abused by my fucking deadbeat mother.
Okay, so
and
number
you're
one...
another sympathizer.
Sure. Number one, I'm not here to defend abuse victims. I just think you guys are interesting. Number one. Number two, your mom could be abusive as well. I don't actually know that.
Well, you're a fucking coward. We came on. You said you wanted to talk, and then you have all these accusations right afterwards.
I didn't have any accusations. Here's my
Yeah,
opinion.
you did. You said you thought it was probably inappropriate, but you weren't gonna go there. Just fucking say it, dude. I never did anything inappropriate with my fucking dad.
I don't know if you did or not. I'm agnostic on that. I'm pretty sure I said just as much. I have no idea.
Why don't you believe me? Why don't you believe me? You're not gonna take my word for it? You're not gonna listen to me?
No, because
my word means nothing?
during the
Honey, if you knew anything about Destiny, he's smart by not just believing anything that comes out of your mouth because of the people that he has dealt with. Like Mr. Girl, which I still, to this day, don't understand how Destiny did not pick up on how Mr. Girl was. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But that's why.
The conversation we had, you were still covering with your dad. I think you probably do it quite often that you cover for your dad. I think you might actually be a little bit smarter than your dad, so you probably help him quite a lot with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. She's the smart one in the duo. She's the smart one. She knows how to talk.
So my word means nothing. So why the fuck am I on here if you're not gonna listen to me?
You don't have to be honest for me to get information from you. Sometimes listening to the things that you guys lie about gives you more information than you guys telling the truth about things.
Exactly.
What have I lied about?
It was more actually your dad's lies, but all the mess ups on timelines, him seemingly not remembering how he got into your phone, and then you graciously volunteering all of the information for us.
Yeah.
Like these types of pieces of information, I think, give some kind of insight into the relationship that you two have.
Yeah, you're a weasel. You set up a conversation. You said, hey, you were friendly to me when I came on. You said, hey, I'd like to talk to you and your dad. And you were laughing when you watched the videos about us. Then you bring us on, you make it super fucking awkward, and then you say, hey, it looks like you guys are lying because it's super awkward and you guys are, skirting around questions. No, we're just trying to have a fucking conversation and you're not responding. I don't know if you're tired or whatever, or you need a coffee, but it fucking sucked. It's not abuse to have an awkward situation.
I don't think it was abuse because it was an awkward situation. And right now, I feel like the reason why you're...
You know what happened? They tried to grift so hard, they made themselves super obvious. Because he wasn't following the dialogue that they are used to. Because again, look where they come from. They don't exactly talk to smart people. They don't exactly talk to people who are like Destiny, Chud Logic, hell, me. I mean, not saying that I'm a Destiny or a Chud Logic, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm up there with them. But what I'm saying is, they don't really talk to a lot of people with very good common sense. And Destiny realized immediately what they wanted, and he didn't give it to them. And then they talked their way into what they're dealing with now.
You're so upset is because me asking a long string of questions of you and your father to figure out kind of what's going on probably reveals more abuse than me just coming in and screaming, did he molest you? Because obviously you guys have probably dealt with accusations like that a million times in the past, but I'm not really interested in making those direct accusations because obviously you guys probably talked around them before. I was just more interested in the dynamic of your family. And it seems like coming up, it feels like there's a lot of weird points that are hard to explain in terms of how your dad functioned in the family, which isn't that big of a deal. I mean, people make mistakes, but the problem is that it still seems like it's going on today, and your mind seems to be pretty compromised in relation to all of it. But hey, that's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong.
Well, why did you ask us to come on? I just don't understand. It was just awkward.
I didn't think it was awkward at all. I thought it was incredibly interesting.
It was super awkward. And then you say oh, the silent pauses and awkward silences. That means that you're covering for something. And obviously, when something's so awkward, you feel like you're gonna try to get the conversation going.
Yeah.
But who was it awkward for? It was awkward for you and your dad because y'all didn't know what to do. Because y'all hadn't talked to somebody like Destiny yet. Y'all hadn't talked to somebody with the brain power of Destiny yet. Y'all didn't know what to do. Y'all are so used to be able to go to different people and talk on your live streams and stuff like that, and either people falling for it or people knowing it's a bit. Because there's a plan for people to talk about y'all. I saw the chat. And y'all thought y'all were going to catch up Destiny. No. It wasn't going to happen.
You typically wouldn't make mistakes or volunteer contradictory information, right?
What was the contradictory information?
Well, for instance, when I asked your dad about the phone thing, it was interesting that he didn't seem to remember if he'd ever been in your phone before, how many...
True, Courtney. Courtney comes in with the Truth Bomb 2023. Destiny's on his boundary arc, so he's going to be cautious now. Yeah, let's hope he stays in this arc, so we don't have to deal with another fucking Mr. Girl. That would be great. Thank you. What community they came from? They came from Boyd. They came from Krama and Boyd, because Krama is like right above the Boyd community. And the Boyd community is called Boyd because it's the bottom of YouTube. It's where all the bad stuff happens on YouTube. They're not exactly great people over there. Not saying everybody's bad over there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying 100% of the people are bad over there. But there's an overwhelming amount of bad people over there. They do bad things. They really do. They like to dox. They like to call government agencies on people. They like to fake sicknesses, fake disabilities. Let's see. Oh, they like to fake deaths, whether it's their own or someone in their family. They like to fake miscarriages. There's just a bunch of shit that they do over there, and it's all for the dollar.
Many times he gotten into your phone altogether, how he even got into your phone initially, whether or not he asked you. I feel like that would be a pretty big, usually
That's
moments...
literally not true. He said, I went into her phone without asking her. He didn't remember exactly what he did, but he said, I went in and I said I was sorry afterwards, so you're a liar.
I asked him directly. This was a direct confrontation, as I literally asked him, how did you get into the phone? And he was like, I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't know how I got into it. Because I said that they normally have passwords and stuff. And then you were the one that supplemented information.
Grace, you didn't expect somebody to take notes while talking to you, did you? You didn't expect somebody to take notes. Have you not watched Destiny before? Don't you think you maybe should have watched him talking to people before you went on there? Don't you think y'all should have had a battle plan or something? Because the man takes notes while he talks to people. We all know that. Why do we know that? Because we watch Destiny. That's what he does. Why do you think he's loud typing as you're talking to him? Because he's typing up notes. He's not just to do it. He's literally typing notes.
There to cover his tracks, which is...
Or he just didn't remember. Don't you think you could be reading into something a little bit?
No.
No, so
I think that
you don't. So my word means nothing.
I think that.
Well, so I'm just an abuse victim. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Well, you can.
What is the point of me fucking being here? I don't understand. My word means nothing.
Well, the point of you being here is...
I've been brainwashed, right? I've been fucking brainwashed.
Sure. There's 2 points of you being here. So one is, I'm guessing your dad mainly, maybe you a little bit, really wanted you to talk to me so that you could help both of your guys' like blossoming.
Yup. That's exactly what I think it is. Look. Like I said, her and her dad, they have roles. And I think the mother has a role too. I think the dad is he's the boomer. Okay, he's like the used car salesman boomer, all right? He's going to say anything and everything that comes out of his mouth to get you to convince you of something. But who turns around and actually convinces you of shit is Grace. Because she's more eloquent when she talks. She speaks better. She has a better cadence about her. She is, if you're gullible, she is very easy to trick people because of the way she talks. The dad sounds like a used car salesman. The mother, to me, her role, now supposedly she hasn't been seen in 6 weeks, okay? The mother, from what I've seen, she's almost like the sad bad guy. They're always on her shit. They're always on her shit. And... oh God, in that little documentary thing, Grace does some things to her that I'm like, oh, if I even attempted to do that to my mother. So. If you're going to cover them a lot, you should, well, I'm not going to cover them that much. Like, my channel is not going to become a Thorp hate channel. I fucking refuse. I'm not giving them that much. There are other shit going on the internet, but I am going to cover them at least once a week. If you're going to cover them a lot, you should reach out to Sick, the guy who made the lab doc. He's been covering them and probably has a lot of info. Thank you, Floating. Thank you for that, I appreciate it. Sayla, she has battered woman syndrome, in my opinion. Oh, the mother? But I don't know how much of that is real. See, that's the thing. That's why I want to look into these people. I want to know how much of that is real. Because I have a gut feeling. So this, and listen, fuck your feelings. Feelings aren't facts, okay? Let me repeat. Feelings are not facts. So I am not stating this as a fact. I have a feeling that this whole thing is a grift. I really have a feeling, I have a gut feeling that the entire thing is a grift. It's a lie. I don't know if I'm right or not, but I just have this gut feeling that I don't know how much of this I can believe. TBM says, I know the Thorps. They are a mess of a family for real. They broadcast it. But here's the thing. How do we know that they just don't turn it on for YouTube? How do you know? To me, they've kind of told on themselves when they mentioned 8 times about Destiny, wanting to get Destiny to talk about the incest. And she gets mad. She literally gets mad because Destiny didn't talk about the incest. Why? Why? I don't know. I'm going to look into it. Because if they are this bad, whew, Lord have mercy. I don't know. Something's up. Something's up with them, and it don't feel good. Yeah, see, the argument between John and his son, that did seem real. It did. So what I'm thinking is maybe it could be real, and then we're going to sprinkle in some crazy bullshit on top of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know those people who will give you a little bit of truth, but you have to find the little bit of truth that's within the bullshit. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I have a gut feeling about them. I really do. It rings true to me. The dad's using his daughter for fake, and he thinks the hint of incest will help. The dad makes it confusing to hide his manipulation and abuse. See, I don't know if there's abuse there. I don't know. I have to see proof of it, but like actual proof, I don't know. We're going to find out. Fuck it. We're looking into them, okay? That's the only thing I can tell you is we are going to look into the Thorps because this is like crazy land. We're literally about, listen, y'all know how y'all joke about me being the bus driver? I'm about to take y'all to crazy land, okay? So make sure you have your tickets ready when we get there because this is fucking crazy land. Only crazy people deal with this. Only crazy people watch this. I cannot believe somebody sane would watch this shit. Sonic Power, you're going to have to go back and watch because I am not getting back into it. TVM, they are on Discord all day interacting with randoms. They never turn it off, which makes me think it's real. Oh, so they're Discord degens? Lord have mercy. You should have never told me that. Courtney's like, hey, I'm offended. I love you, Courtney. Yes, I'm about to break check y'all. The fact that he's making his children have these conflicts in public, even if played up or fake, is abuse, in my opinion. If it's the adults, I don't know. That's actually a good question. Would it be? I don't know. Because see, that's the thing. Where they come from, the communities they come from, that's what they do over there. Everything has to be in a live stream. Everything. Courtney, are you like, wait, which Courtney are you, Courtney? Are you Bieber's Courtney? Or like the Destiny, the Stan Courtney? Or are you the other Courtney? I can't tell with the picture, with the PFP. Or you're not the Destiny Courtney, you're the other Courtney. You're neither. Oh, okay. All right, so you're the other Courtney. You are what we call the other Courtney. Okay. I don't know. That's a really good question, Floating. I'm Big Coco. Okay, there you go. All right, what's up? Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good question, Floating. That's a really good question. I don't know. All right, let's continue.
YouTube careers or whatever, which is fine. I'm okay with that. And
you asked me on. You asked him on too.
I did, yeah. I said I'd like to have a talk for you, but I'm sure he was really keen to get.
You know what we need? We need Aiko going over this because she will sit there and do a 7-hour live stream on these people, and there's a lot of content for her to go over. We need Aiko on this.
You to talk to me. I've seen the logs from Big Papa Fash and all of that of him trying to get you on other streams. I saw off stream, I watched a few videos of you guys, and I saw the other guy saying that he was donating in super chats to try to get you to go on streams and stuff. So I'm sure you guys probably did you guys talk about coming on my stream before you ever reached out to me?
I think we were talking about, yeah, I mean, we were talking.
Yes, Courtney, pray for Beavers, Courtney, 100%. If you want to DM them, I gave you their accounts, they probably would go on your stream. Wait, how did you give me their accounts? Are you stalking me, TVM? Wait, how are you giving me their accounts? Do I know you? TVM, you're kind of scaring me right now. How are you giving me their account? Discord, we have interacted before. Oh, have we? Oh, shit, I'm sorry. Okay. We met through Nixon. Oh, yes! Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Okay. Okay, I was just making sure you weren't a stalker. Okay, I'm old. I forget things, okay? I'm old. I forget things. You can't hold that against me, okay? Shit. Wait, excuse me. Hold on. Pumpkin, why are you on the sink? What are you doing? Ugh. She's mad I haven't fed her yet. I know, it kind of scared me for a moment. I don't know if I want to reach out to them yet. I might hold off a little bit, but I do eventually want them up here. Thank you, TVM. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We about a bunch of stuff because of the Crowder thing. We were like, yeah, we want to talk to some, bigger people because nobody's really taking his side. So yeah.
Okay, so right there, you gave me kind of like a maybe, but then you also
we did.
Yeah, okay, you did.
We talk about all of the YouTube stuff.
That's good. Okay, because I heard you on another stream a while ago enthusiastically say that your dad helped you a lot in preparing for the debate with me. That was a really big thing for him helping. So
yeah, he did. He did. But he didn't he didn't tell me what to say to you. He was just like,
okay, and let me tell y'all sucked in that debate. I'm sorry, Thorp 1 and Thorp 2. Y'all fucking sucked in that debate. The shit that was coming out of y'all's mouth was that debate. Okay, listen, I don't say the R word, all right? Not normally. I've only called specific people the R word. That debate was so bad that you literally made me tweet out, I want to say the R word right now because it was so bad. Oh my God. To make me want to say that word, that's pretty fucking bad.
Reach out and we'll see if we can, anybody will take us on.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So does that mean he's helping me or does that mean I'm brainwashed? I don't know.
Well, he can help you and you can be, I don't know if I'd say brainwashed, but I feel like you're in a pretty unhealthy world right now in terms of where you're being held at in life for his purposes. I think you're very much being used to kind of advance his emotional, psychological, psychosocial well-being, essentially, right? His relationship with the world, his business stuff on YouTube, the way that he navigates the relationship with his family. It feels like you're like a pretty pivotal part in that, right? Like you help him in fights with your mom, you help him in fights with your brother. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, but I have more subscribers than him. I mean, my career is taking off, not his, really. I feel kind of like, oh, okay, well, he's really helping me.
But it's going to probably be at his behest, and I'm guessing, this is just a guess, but do you ever help financially support him for anything?
No.
Never? Do you guys make any money from YouTube stuff at all yet?
No. We're kind of living off of, we sold some houses.
How do you sell some houses?
No, they don't live off of YouTube. The hell? No, there's no way. Because you look at her stuff. Of course, she got... That's Destiny's stream, so that's her most popular. She made a list, all right? Don't let that fool you. That's not her views. All right, 3.8K, asking my Uncle Roger for help. See, people are starting to watch her now. Because before, 729, 920, 1.5, 1.2, which is really good for her size, 1.3, 1.5, they weren't really watching her. Since Destiny, look at this. Now they're going back and watching her. Everybody's going back and watching her. You look at Dad. They're going back and watching Dad now. 2.9, 930. Now look, 463 views, 590 views, 384, 289. Those are short videos. Live streams, 1K, 710, 559, 430, 301, 731. Out of the two, she's the moneymaker. You go here, cops are hot, change my mind. Okay, well, I mean, I get it, because, you know, uniform. I'm 20-year-old Catholic girl. I'm a 20-year-old Catholic girl who streams constantly about her life. Different YouTubers, music, drama, and everything else under the sun. Please feel free to email me or comment under any videos if you have any questions, and I'll get back to you ASAP. Or hop on panel sometime on a live stream. Become part of my simp army. And there's her Discord.
Well, I mean, we already went into my high school sexual history. Do I have to go into my financial history too? We sold some houses.
Well, there was a lot of weird holes in the financial history, but I didn't feel like digging through all the business stuff.
She's over 2K now, and he's finally over 1K. I have a feeling that he's had more than one YouTube channel, because if you go to he's been on YouTube since 2008. He's been on YouTube since 2008. Now, another thing that tells me that he comes from Boynton Krama, he links his Facebook here. Krama uses Facebook. Boyd uses Facebook. She's been on here since 2013. I bet you this is not his first, I bet you this isn't his first YouTube channel. I bet you. Which is fine. Mine isn't my first YouTube channel. It's actually, the one you're on now is probably my third one. Excuse me.
Very curious, like, for instance, how the restaurant went under, who was the one loaning money to make that restaurant work, and how that was able to all dissolve without you guys losing any of your rental properties. But that's the whole other story. I don't really care that much about the financial stuff.
Well, what your suspicion is, but I don't help him financially.
Wait.
He doesn't even know I'm on here.
I don't know if she got her GED or not. And honestly, it's YouTube. I don't think that's a determining factor. Unless she turns around and lies about, and she turns around and says she graduated high school, then there's the lie. The lie is whether she graduated high school or not. That's the lie. It's not whether she got her GED or not.
Right now, so go ahead. De-brainwash me.
Wait, he doesn't have... Wait, no, okay,
Destiny.
Okay, go.
Right now, Grace seems to feel like as though you ambushed her. You made her feel comfortable. You made her seem excited that you were willing to have her and her father on, and all of a sudden the conversation felt super, like, interrogationary, mildly antagonistic, as though you're trying to dig for something that they believe isn't there. But I want to clear something up. Weren't you clear when you were talking to your audience about the fact that you want to sit with them because you want to explore their dynamic, and that's what you are doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I even said that to her when she was on stream. That's what I thought, but... No, I'm pretty sure I said that, actually. I'm not gonna let myself get gaslit here as well. Yeah,
perfect.
I did.
Grace...
The only reason why Grace is mad because her dad came out of that looking dumb, and she tried to save him because she's the better talker than he is. If her dad was smart, they would reverse roles, and she would do most of the talking, and he would only interrupt every now and then. But they're not smart in that way. The dad probably thinks that he's fooling people by the way he talks. He's so he's so dumb he thinks he's smart. If they were smart, Grace would do all the talking and not the dad, because the dad gives himself away. The dad completely gives himself away to anybody who can recognize it.
So Grace, where is your misconceptions coming from? If he made it clear that he wants to explore the dynamic between you and your father, which includes asking the questions that he did today, why do you feel as though he ambushed you and he presented himself in a way that wasn't true to what he did to you today, you and your father?
Well, I mean, I'd rather if somebody just says like, "Hey, do you fuck your dad?" rather than saying like, "Hey, how did you feel when your dad went through?"
That's reference number 9, by the way. That's reference number 9, by the way. Just saying, because they know how to answer that question.
Your phone in this really creepy low voice. Like, I don't know, dude. I didn't love it, but like also I feel like I have to respect him as a parent, and it's okay for him to like figure out what I'm doing online. It's subtle. I don't know what to tell you. And then you're like, oh, okay. And there's no response and there's no joking around. I mean, what the fuck? Are we people, or like is this a social situation, or are you just autists?
Also, the thing is that
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so the thing is that, and maybe this is because you haven't had a normal development, that answer, in my opinion, is very strange, right? Most teenage girls that are 13, 14, 15 are going to be really aggravated if parents are going through their phones. The fact that you volunteer that information that early shows me that you guys must have had some type of like abnormally close relationship at that age, and then especially with him claiming that the mom is being abusive and offering no explanation for why she might be feeling the way she does, when it sounds like she had a really reasonable collection of feelings based on everything that I've been told.
Oh yeah, it was reasonable for her to say that she wanted me to commit suicide. Let's go ahead and hear that, Cope. Go ahead. Yep.
Didn't your dad say that he wanted your brother to kill himself too?
No.
Really? I could have sworn that I heard a stream where he was telling your brother to kill himself. You were telling me I didn't hear him say this multiple times?
Oh, okay, yeah, he was like, go kill yourself. But like, my mother said I want her to commit suicide.
Sure.
That's
so
different.
I don't know
That's
the
a different
context of
thing.
when your mother said that, and if she did say that, it's not acceptable. But the stress that she was feeling relating to the restaurant stuff and everything like that seemed to be totally reasonable to me, but it was presented as though she was insane. That's very strange to me.
Well, a wife is supposed to support her husband. She was resentful about the restaurant thing ever since he started it. She failed. Sorry, maybe it wasn't her fault, but she failed as a wife. You're supposed to support your husband.
But it didn't sound like your husband, or I'm sorry, Freudian slip.
Little girl, you can't. Oh, I am okay. Listen, I'm gonna go. Yes, I'm going on a Just Pearly Things rant. I am so sick of these 20-somethings, okay, that aren't even in a goddamn relationship, let alone a marriage, trying to tell women how they're supposed to be in a fucking marriage. I am over it. I am over these little whippersnappers trying to tell a woman what they're supposed to do in a marriage. I'm over it. I'm over it. Hard-headed ass children. The hell.
It didn't sound like her husband needed support. It sounded like he needed a mom, because it sounded like, by his own admission, that he was out back smoking cigarettes while she was trying to run everything on her own. That was his own words. Your dad said that. So it didn't seem like he was very present during the business. Yeah, go ahead.
This is back to the Steven Crowder thing. I'm not saying it's her fault, but if you undermine a man, eventually he will say like, well, I can't really access you. You're freaking out constantly. I guess you just end up in a very difficult position. I'm not saying it was her fault, but she was angry and she wanted it to be a crisis to prove to my dad that he couldn't run like a business.
I'm going to be honest with you, honey. If I was married to something like that, well, first of all, I would have never even, no. No, actually, no. When I was younger, I would have fell for some bullshit like that. Okay, I probably would have. All right, but as time move on and you grow up and you ended up noticing the shysters in the world, ma'am, I would have told his ass to kick rocks a long time ago. I'm not going to sit there and be a supportive wife to someone who constantly wants to talk to me like they're a used car salesman. I'm sorry, and that shit ain't happening. That shit ain't happening.
What was she doing to undermine your dad?
Well, he tried to talk to her and say like, okay, we need to work things out. And she'd just say, no, I have to go in. I have to go in.
What do you mean work things out? Work what thing out?
Well, we need to work out this restaurant thing is not, we need to like.
Yeah, but what was he doing to work out the restaurant? It sounds like he didn't learn any of the recipes. It sounds like he didn't find any more help besides some of the Ethiopians. Like, what was he doing to act? Because it sounds like this is just what you guys told me, so maybe I'm wrong. But from what you guys told me, it sounded like she was basically doing all the work on her own.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by your chat. He said his hand is literally inside her asshole and she's being puppeteered right now, Destiny. Perfect, that's perfect. But yeah, no, he was running other.
Oh, honey, if you can't welcome to Destiny's chat, girl. They're gonna say a shitload more about you in Destiny's chat than you. Wait till you go see DGG. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure the Reddit's got plenty to say about you. What?
Other parts, she agreed to be the manager. She wasn't the manager. And I'm not mad at her for this, but she just did all the work for these fucking people. And, you know, she got overwhelmed by that, but she didn't manage them. And he agreed to be running the other stuff like advertising and promotions and going to events and, you know, getting the restaurant out there.
Advertising and promotions and going to events? Dog, I'm not trying to be mean, but you guys are running a local restaurant. There is no such thing as going to events.
Thank you.
Advertising is probably going to be an ad in the newspaper or maybe a WePrint or whatever website. Like, what all is he working on the side here? Managing the restaurant
is... You have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Catering events and advertising are a huge part of a restaurant.
Well, you
have
guys,
no
you guys
idea.
were doing...
Oh, you didn't do your research. You didn't do your research.
Tons of catering
You guys were
events.
doing catering? That was the primary thrust of your income?
No, I'm saying he was the social side of it, and she said she'd manage the, you know, interior running of it. I don't know what to tell you. She'd manage the kitchen, essentially, and he was going to manage the front and the advertising and all the business
Hold on.
aspects
Managing
of it.
the front is not the same as being a restaurant manager. Was she just a supervisor or the sous chef or what? Because just being in back of house and managing back of house is not managing a restaurant.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I would say the back of the house. Yeah, like the kitchen. The kitchen essentially was what she was in charge of, and my dad was in charge of, like, you know, the waiters and all the, you know, that kind of stuff. The front of the house stuff, the advertising, that, you know, that.
Okay, you're giving me a lot of different types of jobs here. But if
well, I mean, it was complicated. He meant to start the restaurant to pass it off to his, you know, Ethiopian friend, but the Ethiopian friend backed out of it, and he was like, I don't want to do this. So then my dad and mom were kind of like, okay, well, let's try to make this work. But she got resentful and undermined him, and he tried to make it work, and
I'm not
it eventually
understanding.
failed.
So here's what I think is happening right now, okay? And I understand this is going to sound insulting, but you keep using some of these phrases. He was undermined by her. I don't think you believe that actually happened. I don't think you witnessed that happen. I don't think you were old enough to see that happen. I think that these are things your dad has told you about her, and that's why when I'm asking you, and I'll ask you again, I'll give you an opportunity because I could be wrong, but when I ask you, how did she undermine him? I don't think you have any examples of that. Because it sounds like if he was running front of house and he was manager for the restaurant, and she's just like a kitchen lead, right, helping line cooks, then I don't know how any of this was her fault or how she could even undermine him.
Well, I can tell you a specific experience I had. I remember he was looking for a building to have the restaurant in. And we were walking around our neighborhood, and there were a bunch of, like, open buildings. And, you know, we were going from place to place. And he was like, wow, this could be really great. And I just remember looking at her, and she just had this look of, like, anger on her face. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, what's wrong? It seems like Dad's trying to start something here. And she just was angry. And she, you know, she got rid of it pretty quickly. But I was like, oh, okay, so, like, she kind of thinks Dad's wrong for doing this. And then that seeped into me and all my siblings, and we all kind of thought our dad was a fucking failure for doing this restaurant that actually was a good idea. But, you know, she was angry from the start. I don't know what she was angry at. Maybe that she couldn't be...
Fun fact. From what we're hearing that your dad did, I hate to tell you, but if it's true, he was a fucking failure. Hate to tell you, it's called Xylie Gets Real for a reason. But if the way he described it, he was a fucking failure. Hate to tell you. I mean, just saying. He was.
Be a stay-at-home mom, but you're supposed to support your husband. I'm sorry, he makes the... That's what you signed up for. That's what she signed up for, is to listen to your husband and support him.
So that is absolutely not what a healthy relationship looks like, even in a conservative world. You don't sign up to just acquiesce to everything your husband demands, okay? It's a partnership, number one. Number two...
No, that's not what she signed up for, and she damn well knows it. And if she was here right now, she'd tell you, no, I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for him to be the leader and me to be the supporter. She'd tell you that. Even after all this, she would tell you that. She knows what she signed up for.
Okay, Grace, okay. Number two, maybe she was unhappy because it was a bad location or she had a bad feeling about it, but it seems like it didn't work out. So were her feelings not a little bit justified?
Yeah, it didn't work out because she wasn't fucking supportive. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't understand how she's just in
the
kitchen and he's doing all front of house and he's the manager. How is she sabotaging the business solo?
Because she was angry, right? So when the employees weren't doing a good job, she would take that anger out on me and my siblings and herself, and she would just do it all instead of just saying to him like, "Look, this isn't working." She was angry at him, right? So she wanted him to feel bad and she wanted to make herself look like she was the martyr. I'm sorry. So she'd run around doing everything. All of us kids felt bad for her. We all felt like our dad was running this restaurant that wasn't failing, and he would try to talk to her, try to calm her down, try to say maybe we could work something else out, and she just was fucking pissed.
Okay, but how does that ruin the restaurant if she's only in back of house?
If a couple is running a restaurant and she's actively not managing the employees so that she can use her time effectively.
You might as well stop because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Girl, you have no clue what you're talking about.
and then taking it out on the kids and blaming it on the dad, that business is going to fail.
Well,
That's
then it
what's gonna
sounds to me
happen.
like, wouldn't you then, as the manager, decide to move your wife out of that business and just hire an employee and have the wife stay at home or do something peripheral to it? Isn't that the point of being the owner or manager of the business?
Yeah, and you could make that criticism that he didn't end it soon enough. You could make that criticism. I understand that.
Well, you don't have
criticism.
to end it soon enough. So I'm assuming you don't know much about me. So my background is in restaurant work, right? That's what I did for 2 or 3 years at a casino. I was a supervisor in a small cafe, to be fair. Okay, so I know a little bit about how kitchens work, and I know a little bit about front of house and back house. I know a little bit about managers and sous chefs and prep work. But what I'm trying to figure out is I don't know how an angry kitchen lead, because that's what you're telling me is it sounds like now she was just like a lead for the kitchen, which I'm guessing was probably not her job, because it's pretty rare for women to be line cooks or for women to work back of house like that. Just my personal experience, I could be wrong. I'm trying to figure out how she could have ruined everything back there, because everything you're telling me sounds to me like your dad told you that she ruined it all because he made mistakes and he doesn't want to own up to that, and he's trying to build the narrative in your eyes that your mom was self-destructive and ultimately destructive to the family. That's what I'm hearing from you. Now, if you have any concrete example for how my mom did this and that's what ruined the business, I'd be a little bit more keen to accept that at face value, but it doesn't seem like that's what I'm hearing right now. I just feel like I'm hearing a lot of anger, resentment from your dad.
All right, I can give you an example. We used to go in early, me and her, and we'd do prep, right?
Yep.
This was once in a while, maybe on weekends, right? And I'd sit there and I'd make these fucking things called sambusas. They were like Indian wraps, sort of, whatever. So she would sit there and she'd go down to make the bread.
Why are you doing Indian wraps in a Nigerian restaurant? I'm just asking. I don't understand. Just throwing that out there.
And then she'd come back up and she'd scream at me and she'd go, "You didn't fucking make those right." And she'd throw them or whatever. And I kind of thought like, okay, I'm being bad. I'm not paying attention or whatever. Now, it's her responsibility in that situation to either say, this isn't working for me and I need to make a change, or you know what, I'm going to calm down and make this a healthy relationship between me and my daughter. It's not okay to take that out on your daughter, whether you have a problem with your husband or not, right? So you have to admit there was some abuse from her. She was angry and she took it out on me. I think she was wrong to be angry, but whether you want to say she was wrong or right, she was angry and she took it out on her kids, and you shouldn't do that.
Would you say then, okay, I can, sure. So when she thought that you were making mistakes in the back of the house, instead of her trying to find a way to work together with you to kind of come to some resolution for things, she would basically just start throwing stuff around, being very demeaning towards you, talking shit. She wasn't kind of ever working towards solutions.
Yeah, I remember one time I was upstairs and I fell asleep with my baby sister on my lap, and my baby sister fell.
This just shows that the abuse and manipulation from her dad, she literally has rewritten her past. Well, here's the thing, Moody. I'm wondering, is the abuse really there? Or if it's all a play? I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know if the abuse is actually there and if it's all a play. I don't trust people who come from that side of YouTube. I don't trust their stories unless I see it for myself. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's all a play or not. Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, exactly, Toots. Considering they can't keep anything straight. Oh, Sambusas have an Ethiopian and Somali version. Okay, thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Because she said Indian. So I was like, wait a minute. But okay. Thank you, Nicole.
Fell off, and I was 11 years old at the time, and she screamed at me. She said I was gonna kill my sister, and you wouldn't believe the guilt that I felt for that, right? Because I was up late and everything. Okay, you shouldn't do that to your kids. Even if your problem is with your husband, you shouldn't take it out on your kids. Now, I don't think her problem was with my dad. I think her problem was that, she wasn't ready to be a supportive wife. But either way, you'd have to admit, that's not okay to do. And my dad didn't do shit like that. He was just distant.
Yeah, so I agree with what you're saying now, okay? And I'm believing these feelings. They sound real to me, right? You're saying that she fucking screamed, that she threw things, that she was shouting at you, and that it's not fair for her to take that out on you. When you were defending Steven Crowder's treatment of Hillary, I thought...
Miss Stripe says there's about 60,000 Indian people that live in Nigeria. Their food has probably become part of the culture. Oh, I didn't know that. All right. Well, there you go. I did not know that, Stripes. Thank you for saying that. Learn something new every day. Even throughout this bullshit, we learned facts. I love facts. Thank you.
But you said that the only thing that mattered was that what he was saying was being correct. Because you were saying there that him talking rudely or using a condescending tone didn't rise to the level of abuse. But now it sounds to me like the only thing your mom really did was say that, like, hey, the way that you put this food together was incorrect. But based on the tone she used or the way she treated you, it feels like you did feel like that was abusive, no?
No, she was wrong to. It wasn't my fault, the things I was doing. I was trying my best.
Sure.
It wasn't my fault. She was wrong to just be so harsh on me. She was wrong.
Moody Morgan, she sounds very genuine in my honest opinion. And that's why I say she should talk more if they want their act to work right. Because she sounds more convincing than he does. That's why she has more subs. He sounds like he's trying to bullshit you. She sounds more convincing. But even she's stumbling in this conversation. I'm pretty sure there is some truth into all of this. Listen, with people like this, you gotta find the grain of truth and you have to listen to every single word that comes out of their mouth. Because within their lies, there'll be a little bit of truth. And within their truths, they're going to be little bitty lies. It's not crumbling for them, Toots. People are talking about them now. It's not... Listen, there's no such thing as bad press. There's no such thing as bad press. And what they put out there on their channels, bad press ain't shit. The only thing they want is people talking about them, because people talking about them means that people go to their channels and check them out. Means more subs, means more views, means that people give you super chats. They don't give a shit whether you like them or not. They just want the views. Yeah, I've watched the exposed video on them. We're going to watch it eventually.
Wrong to do that.
Sure.
But also she was wrong to... Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, if I had a clip, she wasn't always like this, but sometimes when she was really upset...
Yeah, I believe you. I'm just saying that it seems that, like...
Her tone would also be abusive, yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds to me like the big thing you're focusing on here is that she made you feel bad because of how aggressive she was, because she was screaming and throwing things. It really didn't have much...
Yeah, they will, Toots. They will keep watching. This is how new people enter that community all the time. Like, I inadvertently gotten people connected to the Krama community, and now they're over there watching it. Because they got hooked. I inadvertently got people hooked on the Krama community when I covered them. Because they wanted to see the craziness all the time. So yes, it will end up equal to views.
To do exactly with what she was saying to you, but it was more just kind of her approach and tone to everything is what felt abusive, which, by the way, is a totally fine position to take. I would agree that it is.
Or if somebody's tone, but her content was the content of what she was saying to me was wrong.
The content of saying you were making these things incorrect, were you making them correctly and she was just wrong on that? Did you as an 11 or 12-year-old know how to put these together perfectly and she was just making up problems?
He was blaming.
But I will say, in turn, I converted some of their people the opposite way, where they pretty much stopped watching them and just started coming over here on this side. Davita, Xylie was my pipeline.
Me for something that I was not responsible for. It was super early in the morning. I was trying my best, and she took out her anger on me for not doing it perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. But you were making a mistake.
So she was wrong.
Sure, I agree. Her tone was incorrect. The way that she was approaching was incorrect. You're probably going to be a lot more patient. I don't disagree. Remember, I said earlier, your mom's probably abusive too. Usually in these types of really weird situations, multiple parties are at fault. It's not just one party. So I'm not going to sit here and argue that your mom was a perfect person. But it feels strange to me that you were so much more eager to defend Steven Crowder's point of view on everything, whereas for your mom, you were very focused when you described that to me on tone and not on content. You weren't telling me that she was calling me a horrible daughter. She was saying these evil things to me. The quotes that I wrote from you is that she fucking screamed. She threw things. She shouted at me. She shouldn't take this out on me. Those were the feelings that you had at the time, and they seem to be related more to her tone than anything she actually said to you.
Well, if you want to talk about that, Steven Crowder did not scream. He didn't throw things, and he didn't yell at her. So
he absolutely didn't.
I think it holds up.
Do you think there have ever been times where your dad was being abusive towards you?
Yeah.
So why do you
He's taken things out on me, but
Sure.
not to the extent at all. Not to the same extent at all. I've taken things out on my siblings. Nobody's perfect, but there was a difference. There was a distinct difference.
Sure, there might have been. I haven't witnessed what your mom said to you. Now, you tell me that your mom said about you that she wished you killed herself. I'm pretty sure I watched a video of your dad saying that he wanted to go upstairs and like put his hand through your face or something. He wanted to beat the shit out of you. I don't know if he's ever hit you before or anything. But that seems to be pretty similar in terms of accusation.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know exactly how to say it, but like there's a difference. My dad he'll say like, you're driving me crazy, but he doesn't.
I have a feeling that there's going to be an arc eventually. I don't know when. I have a feeling that there's going to be an arc where she's going to branch out on her own and leave her dad behind. Honestly. I think they're just taking contrarian points of views to every hot topic, trying to stand out and get noticed, but it could be wrong. No, I think that's part of the grift. Pro Grip.
He doesn't mean it in the same way when, my mom kind of had this conversation. She was like, yeah, I do kind of want her to die. I don't want her to be here.
Do you think
and
the
I knew
difference?
that.
Missing context. We're missing context of the situation.
Yeah, that's not relevant. Do you think the difference is that like your dad knows that he has some kind of hold on you, so he's more concerned with maintaining that, and your mom felt like she was losing you, so that's why she was maybe pushing a little bit more away?
That's why she said she wanted me to die?
I mean, your dad said he wanted to kill you, but you seem more willing to forgive your dad than you were your mom, right?
I'm willing to forgive her for that. I'm just saying she's always made me feel like I'm not allowed in the houses that she's in because she got this fucking thing in her head that I was stealing her husband. I mean, do you realize how crazy that is to say to your 15-year-old daughter? Even if there was something going on, how could you blame the daughter? She blamed me.
I agree with you, okay? Not only do I agree with you, a mother should never say that to her daughter, and none of this stuff should ever be on you whatsoever to resolve. But then the question would be is what steps was your father taking to resolve these issues? Because it seems like he still hasn't gotten a divorce. It seemed like he was reticent to move you guys out until, a business failed, until he got upset about things? What were the steps that he was taking to alleviate the suffering you had here that weren't directly self-serving to him?
Well, when the restaurant failed, he went through...
Yes, he does lack self-awareness. Yep.
Through sort of like he was considering suicide, frankly, because he felt like he had failed our family, and it was a very rough time for him. He kind of went through a depressive state.
I don't understand why the restaurant. Wait, real quick. I don't understand why the restaurant failing would leave him suicidal if he said he was also managing multiple rental properties at the time and had started and ended multiple other businesses before the restaurant.
Well, he hadn't started the only things he had were the rental properties.
Oh, okay.
He had been a high school teacher before the restaurant.
Oh, okay. So if he was running these multiple rental properties, why would he be suicidal because the restaurant business fails?
Well, because it was kind of his baby, and he really wanted it to work, and he wanted us, to make money, and he invested a lot in it, and he was up he was 24 hours a day with his fucking restaurant. He really wanted to make it work, and he still had the rental properties. But I think this happened in 2000. The restaurant was from 2000. What was it? 2010 to 2015, something like that. So, I don't know what to say. It was a rough time in the market. The apartments weren't getting a lot of money. We were dumpster diving for a little while. It kind of got rough. And my mom actually said to him, I think, she said, I've considered you committing suicide for, insurance, whatever, life insurance, too. And he was like, wow, okay.
Did you hear her say that, or did he tell you she said that?
Well, he told me, but then she admitted it later. So, she admitted it herself.
Do you find it inappropriate that he confides so much in you about evil things about your mom?
I mean, she's, no, because the thing is, when things get so crazy, I think he was trying to make me understand, she's got psychological issues. It's not, you don't have to feel guilty, Grace, because the thing is, I feel guilty all the time, and it's not because I'm a bad person. It's because, she had issues.
This is so fucked up. I think we only have a couple more minutes. Hold on. Yeah, about 5 more minutes. Excuse me, 10 more minutes.
So did he. He's admitted he was, weak, but, it was sort of a fucked up situation. And then, when he kind of tried to, he really did think he was married to my mom 5 years ago. He really did think, he was married to her, and then we were going to work it out. But he saw that she was kind of very cold to me, and he was like, okay, well, maybe we can work this out. And then she flipped the fuck out. I mean, she started treating me like I wasn't even her daughter. She really did. She really did.
Did she ever have any of these problems with any of the other kids?
Yeah, she has a very difficult relationship with my brother John, and my other siblings, they've kind of stayed out of it, and I totally understand that, and I'm super sympathetic with them staying out of it as much as they can, but they all feel super, super alienated from her now, and, they're still sympathetic, and they try to reach out to her, but they don't, they're alienated from my dad too, frankly. It's just sort of, he tries to, we try to hang out. They're alienated from me. I don't know. It's kind of a fucked situation. I'm not really trying to blame my mom as in like that it's her fault. But I do think, my dad did not have bad intentions coming into this. He thought we were going to work something out with our family. He thought they were going to be happy and be married. And then, she kind of flipped out, and then things got worse and worse. And he kept trying to say like, hey, we can be a family. We can have cook.
I almost wonder were they ever actually married. Because he's talked like he's not married to her, and yet they're still married, and he talks about a fucking annulment. I don't know. It's just the way he constantly says that I don't know, man. I question so much about what comes out of their mouths, honestly, and she's more convincing than he is.
Counts. We can, relax. It's going to be okay. And she just got worse and worse. She really did.
Do you think them ultimately breaking up was your fault?
My fault? No, of course not. Why
What
would
was
it be
your
my fault?
Oh, I don't think it was. I'm scared you feel that way. What did your dad tell you was the main reason why it didn't work out?
Well, he told me that, that their marriage never really, that they weren't married, that
They were married, right?
Yeah, that that they're gonna pursue an annulment. The thing is, the Catholic Church, it's a long
Regardless
story. You have
of
to get a divorce
regardless
first,
of any
and a whole
annulment, they
thing.
were married, right? We step outside of the kooky Catholic world, we come to the real world. They had 6 children, right? They were running a business together, shared houses and stuff. So it sounds like your parents were married. They shared life as husband and wife together, right?
Yeah, they were legally married and married in the eyes of the Catholic Church. But in order to be married, you have to have a certain level of maturity. And, I just don't, from what I've seen of what my mom does, I just don't think she has the level of maturity that's okay for her. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't think she knew what she was getting into.
Do you think your dad has that?
She had 6 kids. What? Wookie. I have too many dark jokes to type. Oh my god.
Level of maturity to manage that relationship?
I think maybe he didn't quite know what he was getting into either, but like he wanted to better himself, and she kind of, she kind of hoped for a perfect marriage, and then when it started falling apart, she just kind of lost it. And I think he always did try to keep it together. So I think that's the difference. I think he was more mature than her, but I do think he was a weak person and she was a weak person when they got married. I think that's true.
Sure. So do you think he was the type of person that could keep that relationship working?
Do I think he is the type of person?
Do you think he's capable of doing it? Does he have the maturity to keep that relationship working?
With my mom?
Mm-hmm. Because you seem to be saddling all the blame on her, when I can see firsthand, and I think everybody can, that he seems to have a lot of maturity problems as well, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Oh, he's got a lot of maturity problems. You can tell just by the way he talked with Destiny.
Right.
I think he's a very mature person. He's very, 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 emotionally understanding. He helps me, but he's firm when he needs to be, and I don't know, I think he's very mature. I think a lot of the pain he's been through has made him more mature.
How do you tell when your dad is helping you through an emotional problem that you have, and he's not just trying to reframe your emotions in ways that are beneficial to him?
Well, I mean, because they have the ring of truth. I don't know what to say. It's like when somebody tells you something and they're trying to manipulate you, I guess you could say I'm so brainwashed that I don't recognize it, but I mean, I know what truth sounds like, and he's caring but firm, and he always has been.
I know what truth sounds like. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, but how do you know that? Well, for instance, like, do you have a lot of times? I can't ask this now because you're not going to answer. Jeez, it seems like you saddle a lot of blame on your mom. When I think most people can see that your dad acts with a decent lack of maturity. Like, I don't think most parents would scream at their kids and say, "I wanted to go kill my child" or whatever. Not with any degree of seriousness, at least. And then the screaming matches that he's had with your brother are pretty extreme as well.
I mean, those screaming matches, you fail to understand. My brother was an adult at the time. My dad helped him to get his own apartment. And then you don't think my brother was, I love my brother very much, but you don't think he was just sitting there screaming at my dad on those calls? You think my dad comes off as the immature one?
Yeah, I mean, your brother is a kid, right?
Yeah, but my dad lets my brother talk, and then he says, "Can I please talk? Can I please talk?"
No, they
and
were
my brother
screaming at
just
each other.
keeps screaming.
So your dad was talking to a child, right? 18 years old as a child. Now your brother
No,
alluded
it's not
to
a child.
If it was that one, oh god, oh my god, that one conversation, which we're gonna go over that video. That'll be the next thing we go over. Not tonight. because now recording is going live in like 30 minutes. So.
Child that's an adult.
18 years old compared to a 40, 50-year-old person is absolutely a child. Okay.
Yep, it's a young adult.
I'm never going to get in
You're saying child to spin it that way.
I'm not. I'm
You're
just
trying
saying
to make
because
it sound like he's abusing a
I'm
child.
not going to get in a screaming match with a 17 or 18-year-old about a living situation because then we're both children at that point. It's just not going to happen.
Okay, you don't respect adults. Okay, fine. Go ahead. What's
Yep.
next?
Your brother mentioned something about your dad saying something incorrect on the lease. What was that in reference to?
Yeah, the landlord wouldn't give my 18-year-old brother a place, so my dad co-signed for it, but he told my brother it's your place, so that my brother would feel like, okay, it's my own place, I'm gonna pay my own rent. He didn't want my brother to be paying my dad, rent. He wanted him to pay the landlord, and my dad would just co-sign so that he was responsible, but the landlord would trust him, so he wasn't trusting an 18-year-old boy. That's what he did. It was really fucking generous because he took all the responsibility of the apartment on himself, and he was trying to help my brother learn how to be responsible.
Yeah, but it sounds like your brother was saying your dad filled out something different on the lease that he wasn't aware of. He made an allusion to that, but it never got further explored in that conversation.
He wasn't aware of it because if he had been aware of it, he would have said, "Oh, my dad's just running. It's my dad's apartment." And my dad really didn't want him to feel like that, but he knew my brother would have a hard time getting a nice place for the price he got it at as an 18-year-old male. So
So you're saying
shitty apartment.
So you're saying that your dad co-signed the lease, but your brother was unaware of it.
Well, yes, essentially, yes.
Okay, you understand that to most people that sounds really bad, right?
Uh-huh.
No, I mean, from the way I've explained it, I'm saying his 18-year-old son, my brother John's been through a lot. He wanted him to have a nice place for himself.
So why wouldn't he just say that? Why wouldn't he say, hey, let me help you co-sign a lease? How would your brother not know that there was a co-sign on that lease? When you go to fill out a lease in an apartment, they're going to ask both people to fill the lease out. Was your dad handling all the paperwork for him and then just co-signed and didn't tell him?
My dad worked something out with the landlord, okay? And the landlord was a really nice guy, and he said, okay, I'll let your 18-year-old kid live here, but you've got to be responsible and pay a little something up front.
Mm-hmm.
My dad said, okay.
Do you think that
You want to call that abuse? Go ahead. I call it being a generous dad.
Do you think that gave your dad a little bit more control over that apartment? Like the ability to evict your brother?
Yeah.
Or the ability to enter the premises whenever he wanted to unannounced?
Well, my brother knew my dad could enter the premises when he signed. That was part of the agreement. But, he couldn't evict him. He was legally allowed to be there. He never got evicted by my dad.
Okay, he might not have. Why did your dad ever enter the apartment? For what purposes?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like, we're family, so my dad would go up there. I mean, he helped co-sign for the apartment, and he would, I don't know, help him get going with stuff, talk with us. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, when you said go up there, is this just upstairs?
Well, yeah, my dad had an office downstairs. It was a half apartment, half office space. So he got the apartment upstairs was open, and my brother turned 18, and my dad was like, okay, I'll get this place for him.
Gotcha. None of this sounds very generous at all. It sounds like a whole bunch of things, but generous isn't anywhere near the top of my head on what I would describe this as, but...
Okay, well, my dad's a good guy. Bye.
See you later.
Well, fuck you. My dad's a good guy. Bye. And then her age came out. She held it in as long as she could. And I think she broke character when she said, well, fuck you. My dad's a good guy. Bye. And just hung up. She broke character. So, all in all, fucked up family. We're gonna look more into them. Lord have mercy. I'm telling you now, I have lost brain cells. I have literally lost brain cells. What is going on my Twitter? Hold on. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, please draw him. Okay. Damn, everybody in their Discord. Hey, everybody. Everybody's just DMing me on Discord. Yeah. So that was the dark hole of the Thorps. We're going to ascend or descend. It doesn't matter. We're jumping in. Both feet. We're doing it. And I'm taking y'all with me. If I'm going to be ruined by watching this shit, I'm taking y'all with me. I'm letting you know now. I'm taking y'all all straight to hell with me. We're going to do this together. We're doing this together, y'all. It's happening. Davita's like, I'll go willingly because I'm nosy. Me too, girl. Me too. They're going live at 12:30. I thought they were going live at 12. Okay, I'm not going to give y'all the link. Make sure to go check out Now Recording. Now Recording's going live at 12:30. So they're going live in an hour. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good one. The name of it is what's the name of it? Oh, it's an anniversary stream. So there you go. So I could have gone the rest of my life without knowing who these people are, but definitely here for the drama. You know what, Chase? I thought the exact same thing. I could have gone the rest of my life knowing who these people were, but now that I know, I'm intrigued. I can't help it. I just love seeing bullshit artists. I do. I can't help it. It's like an addiction. You know? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All right, so any last words or testament before I get out of here? Anything y'all got to say? Y'all want to cuss me out about something? You got something? What you want to say? It was fun watching them dig their own hole. Oh, yeah, it gets worse. I just need someone to call out on their bullshit so we can really see the truth. True. Amber Chick for president. Could you imagine? We would all die. We would all die if Amber Chick was president. Be cream corn for everybody. Well, then we wouldn't die. We would have something to eat at least. Eat more. Steffi! Steffi, I'm not repeating that. Amber Chick's like, hell yeah, we all dying. Shit. Yes, Pro Grip. These are the types of people that you need proof for them to tell you what time it is. Yep. Yep. I'm voting Skip. Oh, Lord. The I can tell you now, if Skip was the president, the death penalty would rise. More people would be put on the death penalty and more people would be electrocuted. Shit, she'd probably save money on electricity and just get bullets. Knowing her. As a joke, haha. Listen, I can tell you now, every single one of my mods is not fit to be a president of the United States, okay? I can tell you now, every single person in blue in this chat is not fit to be president of the United States by any measure. Thank you very much. All right, I'm getting out of here. Y'all can kiss my ass because y'all trying to ruin the country. Shit. Get the hell out of here. Goodbye.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you Cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent, and it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots, if I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no